Jain College of Engineering, Belgaum, and Jain College of Engineering and Research, Belgaum, Karnataka, India. Today, we have three eminent international speakers who will be delivering a talk. So we'll be starting with the first talk now. So the first talk will be from Emirates Professor Dr. Lance Chunche Fung. Right. So before we start with this talk, I want to introduce the speaker for all the participants. Emirates Professor Chunche Lang Fung was trained and worked as a marine radio electronic officer in Hong Kong during the 1970s. He graduated with a BSc degree with first class honors and Masters in Engineering degree from the University of Valais, UWIST. His PhD degree was awarded by the University of Western Australia with a thesis on artificial intelligence and power system engineering. He has taught at Singapore Polytechnic, Curtin University, and Mudroch University, where he was appointed Emeritus Professor in 2015. His roles have included Associate Dean of Research, Postgraduate Research Director, and Director of the Center of Enterprise Collaborative in Innovative Systems. He has supervised to completion over 31 doctoral students and published over 330 academic articles and research papers. His contribution can be viewed at IEEE Explore, ResearchGate, Google Scholars, etc. Lance has been a dedicated volunteer for the IEEE for over 25 years in various positions in the Chapter WA Section, Australia Council, and the Region 10 Executive Committee. Dr. Lance continues his research and supervision of postgraduate students, and his motto is, "Learning has no boundaries." In this talk, Emeritus Professor Lance Fung will share his experience on NIC and introduce selected projects supported by IEEE, NIC, and FDC. In particular, those have been significant implications for the industry. He will also invite participation and submission to the new initiative programs of IEEE. With this brief introduction, I present before you Professor Chunche Lance Fung, who will be delivering a talk on projects on emerging technology in IEEE. Over to you, Dr. Lance.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you very much for this opportunity to speak in your conference. It is truly a pleasure and my honor that able to communicate with you all across the oceans. Just let me share my screen now, so let me know that this is okay. Does it come over to your screen now? Is it okay? Is all right? Yes. Screen now. Okay, it's all right now. Okay, if that is the case, I just take off my camera, concentrate on the screen. So I also presume that you can hear me okay. I'm also watching the chat, just in case, well, if there's any issue, you can let me know through the chat. Well, today's talk, I changed the topic slightly. That I know that, well, initially I just concentrate on those IEEE projects which are related to emerging technologies. But I am changing the presentation a little bit. So I would like to bring forward, well, some of the emerging technologies from the industry point of view. Then I see that how they are being built upon the IEEE initiatives, in particular through the New Initiatives Committee, which I have the honors to be involved for the past 6 years, and I was a chair last year, and this year I'm acting as a past chair. And a lot of these will be working very closely with the IEEE Future Directions Committee. That I would say that I'm really happy and proud to say that that these two committees have lead the way that a lot of developments through the technology aspect. So as you have heard earlier on, that currently I'm the chair of the IEEE Region 10 Educational Activities Committee, and I have been a volunteer for IEEE for over 25 years. I take this opportunity to thank you, for the organizers, for general chairs for this committee, for this conference, Dr. Raichan, Dr. Vishwana, and Dr. Karisi Dapi, and the conference chair, Dr. Amani, and the conveners, Professor Chitty, and he is the one who took the initiative to contact me and send me the invitation, and Dr. Gobble. So the agenda is I just quickly go through, well, to get to know me. But the reason I'm saying this is, well, I hope that you can see that in case that you don't know anyone, then really you should really do a little bit of a fact check and on the background, well, in particular, well, through the public domain as well. And then I'll take a look at snapshots of the emerging technology from Gartner's perspective. Well, some of you may have heard of Gartner, some of you may not have. So I just do a quick introduction. And I also make a disclaimer that I have absolutely no connection with Gartner in any way, apart from being one of the readers, and university used to be a client of them as well. And then I'll take a look from IEEE point of view. Well, what are the initiatives that we have been doing? And also you can, well, take a look at all these initiatives through their respective website. Because a lot of times I find that people are not aware there's so much good things that IEEE have done, in particular, well, leading the world in terms of the leading edge technology. And again, well, I have to make it clear that well, this presentation is entirely based on my opinions and not necessarily the opinions of IEEE. And most of the information, actually, they are also public domain as well. You can just search for it yourself. So getting to know me, well, the easiest way is you just simply search for Mudroch University profile and Lance Fung, and then you'll come to this link. So as you have heard that officially, I have retired since 2015, but I still have the appointment as Emeritus professor. So what it means is, well, effectively, I'm having a live association with them, and I'm still actively doing some research and supervising some students. Although I have been away from the teaching and administration role, and also I'm not eligible to take any principal supervisor. But then again, well, I'm still involved with a couple of co-supervision. And then, well, under the website, then you can see the different areas, and you can click on the appropriate icon, and then they'll have an expansion. Well, I believe that your university, the Jain College of Engineering and Technology, well, is on the western part, well, of India, and I'm on the western part of Australia as well. So there we are. So we draw a strict line. Actually, we're pretty close. But a lot of time we have, when I travel to India, I have to transit places like Singapore, Malaysia, Bangkok, Indonesia, etc. Well, Mudroch University is one of the 4 public universities in Western Australia. So even though we have a population around 2 million people within the metropolitan area, 2.4 million within the state of WA, we have 4 public universities. Mudroch University is the second longest established university in the WA. The oldest one is University of Western Australia, which was established just 1 year after Stanford, that was our told, and over 100 years history already. Other 2 universities you may have heard as well. Curtin University, this is the largest university and also have a lot of footprints all over the world, and also the E.D. Carver University. We have one private university, the E.D. Carver, the Notre Dame University, which has the affiliation to the Notre Dame University in USA. Well, you have quickly heard my background, and really you can see that I have been in the technical areas for close to 50 years. I started off with my education in the radio, electronic communication, and then I did all the way to the undergrad degree, master degree, and PhD. And I have been working in academic for a long time. Looking back now, close to 40 years. That starting from 1982, I taught in Singapore Polytechnic, Curtin University, Mudroch University, and I hold quite a number of positions, not only in teaching but also in the management side. Well, being the associate dean, research director, and also running the research center as well. I've also been in the University Senate and also the University Academic Council. Within IEEE, well, currently my role is in the...
Excuse me, sir.
Yes?
Sorry to interrupt you. Sir, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes?
Sir, there is some echo from your end, sir.
There's some what?
Yes, sir. Echo. Sound is not clear, sir.
Echoing.
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm not sure what can I do from my side.
Now it is clear, sir.
Okay,
But
I just
when
make
you are doing presentation, there is big echo.
Yeah, please make sure that everyone switch off your mic.
Yes,
so
sir.
in case any
Yes,
feedback
sir.
from your side.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Now it is clear, sir. You can proceed, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. In other roles that I played within the region, I also play on the conference quality committee, which I have served again for another 5 or 6 years. And I'm really passionate for that one, that we want to make sure that the quality of the papers we have in IEEE Explore, and again, and especially those who are being indexed by other partner organizations, we need to be up to scratch to maintain the good standing of IEEE. And then in terms of the new initiatives committee, again, another one I served over 6 years. And this one, as I said earlier on, I'm proud by the fact that, well, we have funded a lot of very meaningful and long impact projects. This committee has been around for around 20 years. And you will see later on, well, I will show you some of those projects we have funded in the past. Well, my home society is a system man in cybernetics. Well, this has been my longest one associated with, and I was on the board of governors for 6 years as a member at large. Okay, in terms of my academic work, well, you heard about 332. This is normally called because this is the one being put up in my university research repository. Although, in effect, I got more than that because of some of the earlier papers, they were all in paper format. They were not collected in electronic format. Well, the other one is, well, if you really want to take a look at some of the work I've done in the past, and you can take a look at the thesis I have supervised to completion. I got around 31 of those. And well, you can see also a range of students I have from all over the world as well. Well, I leave it to you to take a look at yourself. But in the public domain, you can check through my performance through Google Scholar, and you can see it in terms of citation and also H-index, etc. I'm always amused by the fact that I retired in 2015, but my citation even growing faster. That's why I keep on telling my colleague, if you want to have more citation, you should retire early. And then you have a full ResearchGate, again, Scoopers, and IEEE as well, Explore. Okay, now come to the main part of the talk is on the emerging technologies. Well, why I use Gartner? Well, Gartner, well, is quite different from IEEE in the way that, well, Gartner is an entirely commercial operation. I think it's quite clear upfront. But to an extent, some of the operation is quite similar to IEEE in the sense that I call it as a knowledge organization, because what they sell is knowledge. Well, IEEE, our asset is also knowledge. Well, we have our asset, well, in our repository, well, in Explore, over 5 million document inside there. Well, we have our conferences where people get together, well, share their opinions, share their findings. In Gartner, they are serving as an advisor, and then they provide resources, well, for more than 15,000 enterprises in over 100 countries. Well, it's not cheap, well, but the information and the views, well, are highly respected, in particular, including the IT areas. And you will see it's more than that. Actually, education is also one of the areas as well. So you can see that, well, they found in 1979 were the leading research and advisory company. So the main purpose is they just provide advices, and also they do the research. Well, it's quite different from our academic peer research. They do have the peer research, but it's entirely, well, through the enterprises and through their own researcher as well. So we're expanding well beyond our flagship technology research to provide senior leaders across the enterprises. They're talking about C-levels of people. And when I say chief, CIO, CEO, CFO, CTO, and all those people they're dealing with. But together with the clients, we feel the future of business so that a more successful world takes shape. So if you go to their website, well, you see that some of those are put-out menu. They take a look at the functions. They look at different aspects. Okay, what is the function of the organization or maybe the unit? Well, anyone who is working on, well, like auditing, communication, customer services, HR, IT. So this is the one that why I pay attention to. Well, legal, marketing, product, supply chain, etc. They look at the industry as well. Again, higher education. Now, when they look in higher education, they're not really looking at nitty-gritty like the course curriculum and teaching all those things. Mainly, they're looking at the technical aspect. A lot of time, the main target, well, are the CTO, well, whereby the one that providing the backbone to the operation of the university. Well, they're looking at things that how to make sure the network to meet the needs, how the changes in corporation and technology, etc. Well, energy and utilities, well, financial services, well, fintech is one of the examples. Governments, healthcare, well, manufacturing, retail, high tech and telecoms, well, investment services. And then they provide the insight. This is where, well, their services comes in. So they provide informations like reports. Well, they make recommendation of the vendors and all those things. You can see it's the similar areas. They're looking at the by the function and also what are the particular insight that they're able to provide. And of course, nowadays, well, COVID-19 is on everybody's lips. Well, this is what they do. They provide active research. Well, really, they got a lot of reports coming out. Another interesting thing they have compared to our academic paper. Well, they have some certain time lifespan on their paper, and they just simply say that okay, we publish this paper, and then whatever before that, well, is getting a bit outdated. They admit it. Okay, not like what we have in our side. Well, we leave it our papers in Explore. We leave it as it is, where we're hoping that people can cite it. But it happens to me. Well, one of my most cited paper was published in 1993, and actually he's still cited. Well, so this is different from our academic world. So they provide advice as well. They provide services like one-to-one consultation. They run workshop and all those things. But one of the key, reach out to the community at conferences. Okay, they run it all over the world and over the years as well. Consulting is similar. They providing support like digital marketing and peer insight. In terms of the, you can see a snapshot, but some of these are coming at the end of the year or beginning next year.
So sorry to disturb you again.
Yes.
So your slides are not fully visible.
The slides are not visible, but yes, what I see from my side is I'm presenting to everyone.
Half slide is visible, not completely, sir.
Sorry?
A complete slide is not visible.
So what do you want me to do now? Because on my side, well, your platform tells me I am presenting to everyone now. Okay. So what do you want me to do on my side?
Anything? Can you reshare the screen, sir, once again?
Sorry?
Can you once again share your screen, sir?
Okay, I stop presenting.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I stop presenting now.
Yes, sir. Once again, just share the screen, sir.
Okay, I present now. I present the window. I'm presenting my screen to you. Allowed it. Is it okay?
Sir, wait.
You're presenting your screen?
Yes, sir. And now it's fine, sir.
Is it okay now? All
yes,
right.
Sir, yes, sir.
Let me carry on, okay? Yes, so this is examples of some of the conferences. Okay, so as you can see, it's happening all over the world. Well, this is only a snapshot happening a little bit later in the year. Barcelona, London, Tokyo, San Diego, Las Vegas, Sydney. This is the one I used to attend a few times. As you can see, some of the flagship conference is called the Gartner's IT Symposium or Expo. It's around 4 or 5 days event. It's a massive report, a couple of thousand people. And some others much more specifics, well, like the security and risk management. And I can tell you it's not cheap. Well, compared to what we have to our academic conference, okay. Well, this is the track. So this is the one from the Sydney's one. So this is the one from 2020. What are the tracks? They're looking at leaderships and culture, business outcome, trust and governance, analytics, data architecture. But my interest mainly have been always to try to follow what they have in the emerging and disruptive technologies, AI, data science, machine learning, and beyond. And then, as I mentioned earlier on, the conferences are expensive. Well, I can tell you that people in IEEE, they really admire and wonder how come people can command so much money. But then people still go because it's practical application. They're dealing with the people running the businesses. Well, they're talking about millions or even $1 billion of operation. So you can take a look at this one. The standard price is $3,350. Okay, no accommodation. So this is Australian dollars I'm talking about. So it's quite common. Well, but then again, of course, they got some group discount. And from our university, we do have some free tickets. So at one time when I was involved in the management position, I do have some free tickets. So that's why I have been going there. But what I'm trying to say is, in the industry, they are willing to pay top dollars. Okay, let's take a look. What are the reports they're talking about? Now I'm referring to this report. It was published in last year. Well, in August, it's the high cycle. Well, again, I'm not too sure how many of you have encountered this curve called hype cycle before. Well, the technique is, they're looking at the any technology that come along over time, well, at the beginning stage, this is called the innovation triggers. I would say that a lot of our academic work is really in this area. So we are working in this area. We have some new ideas, and then we publish our work and all those things. And then they also have some indication that they would expect, well, how are you going to be some kind of a plateau in the sense that they're really going to maturity and also be productive. But it's quite interesting to take a look at the shape of it. So what does it mean by this? So that means that you have some new ideas come along, okay, some new areas. The people were beginning to pay attention to, put investment into it, put time, publishing papers, a lot of experience being done. And then when these start to get the attention of the people, and everyone jump onto the bandwagon. Okay, let's take a look right now. Well, really, COVID-19, you have a lot of papers being published. Well, there was one article talking about tsunamis of papers. They're talking about 4,000 papers being published in 1 week. So to what extent these papers can be, well, go through the proper scrutiny, and even Lancet, well, really just recently just withdraw one of the paper. That is the one, well, had been talking about one of the treatment, well, for the COVID-19 is no good. And now they found that, well, what they've conducted one is not really valid, and they have retracted it. So this is really creating a very bad, well, impression, well, and it's a matter of a bad effect as well, because it could have saved a lot of people's life, but because WHO, well, say based on the Lancet report, that's what they withdraw the research on that one. But now they found that they've done something wrong. And this happened in IEEE as well. We have papers, we track it as well. Anyway, that's another topic when I talk about the conference quality. But nevertheless, well, they come back to the first part is what they call the peak of inflated expectations. So what does it mean? It means that everybody jump on board. Everybody said this is so good. AI has gone through exactly the same thing. When AI first come on board, well, maybe around 50 or 60 years ago, well, through the symposium in Dartmouth, and when the term AI comes in, and this is where, well, they talk about, well, you can solve everything, well, every problem under the world. But in fact, well, they don't. And people realize that, oh, suddenly, well, they realize that it's not really working as good as it is. The interest dropped. Another example I can quote, which I have been personally involved with neural networks. When neural networks were first come on board, again, a lot of excitement. And then secondly, they found out that, oh, it's not really quite difficult to find out the learning. Then when they come up with the learning methodologies, and then again, another the interest, well, flare up, everybody jump on that. And then they find out they have a limitation again at that time. Well, even I look back when I first started my research on neural network, I used the IBM AT computer, it's a PC, and you need to run 2 weeks before I can get a reasonable result. And then, well, even though the results are not repeatable, so that's why, well, people, the interest again, well, at 4 hours of interest for around over 10 years or so. And lately, of course, it's now come back in a full wave because, well, with the advancement of the technology, well, in terms of the processing power, the memory, and also the speed of the execution, now you begin to realize that, well, neural network, and also it has been applied to things like machine learning, deep learning, and then suddenly he has come back, well, all in big favor, and everyone using it. And not only that, they even go into a lot of platforms. This is what you see some of this terminology, well, later on. And then they go to, well, go through this stage, then they move on to the going down, and through this track of disillusionment. So what it means in here is, well, this is what I have mentioned earlier on, that whereby the levels of interest, they find out that it's not really working. So they no longer find that it's useful. And then, well, gradually, maybe go back to the slope of enlightenment. So this is where, they find out that maybe solve the problem and begin going to maturity. So it's only those technology can eventually come to this part that really become productive, very useful. And not necessarily all these are at this stage, well, we reach that stage. A lot of times they may even drop out completely, but become obsolete, even before they reach the plateau. So if you take a look at those, I'm very quickly to go through because you can see quite a lot of technology is being mentioned in here. So this is where, well, we come in and talk about the emerging technologies. So on the rise, well, biotech, so talking about culture of artificial tissue. Well, one of the things they're interested in right now is maybe making use of artificial meat. So they grow the meat in the lab. Okay, well, that's successful already. People saying that the first synthetic burger, it tastes like, well, as good as it is a real one. well, in a way, they say it's a good thing because, well, it may address the problem of climate change because of too much carbon footprint for producing a pound of burger. But nevertheless, it's still quite a way to go. But then it's happening. Well, immersive, well, workspace. So what it means is, well, it's based on the immersive experience. Well, so that, well, you feel that you're really actually, well, within the workspace. So it's entirely, well, based on the immersive technology, and rely very much on the AI and machine learning and other cloud-based computing, as you can see some of the terms coming up shortly. AR cloud, well, it refers to the augmented reality. So what it means is, well, they store the support for the AR through the cloud. So it's more or less giving you a 3D copy of the world. It's not limited to what you have on your server on your end, but rather it can be available through the cloud. Decentralized web, well, it's also known as a Web 3.0. So effectively, this is a next generation of the internet. And well, it provides the end users, well, really more or less with your own distributed network. And a lot of time it's really also based on the blockchain. Another one is through the neural network and machine learning aspect. Is called the generative adversary networks. So in this one, they are making use of this is a subclass, well, of machine learning. So they have two neural networks, so they can compete with one another. It's something like in a game theory. So it provides a very powerful learning, either semi-supervised or fully supervised. And well, they have been applied now. I've seen some of the pictures. Well, they can artificially generate a picture really as good as it is, just like a human photos. So they have been using this one for fashions, well, art and advertising, video games. But on the other hand, well, there's some really concern on this one because, well, when it is made to be too good to be true, and you really can't tell if this is real or not, and there can be a lot of malicious applications as well. Adaptive machine learning. So what in here is, well, in terms of the learning, you want it to be on the flight, well, whereby you be in real time, so you can be continuously, well, interacting with the environment, well, so that you can improve the learning. Because a lot of time when we apply on a lot of these AI and machine learning applications, well, the training process has been done, well, and then you use it, well, in your application. But then again, you have a new environment, new data coming in. You have to go back to do the training all over again. So this is the problem, and how you make it adapt the system. The next one is digital ops. Well, Gartner will define this one as a process center of the digital transformation, providing the orchestration of the system and other resources, incorporates the mechanism, the sending and responding, while potentially supporting dynamic learning and optimization. What I mean is,
I request participants to mute their microphones.
Okay, thank you, Satya. So I can see you mute your phone already. Thank you so much. So mainly just simply make the system, the organization to be flexible. Another one is a decentralized autonomous organization, well, DAO. So this is the one that is also known as a decentralized autonomous corporation. So mainly is ruled by the well, it's represented by the rules and controlled by the shareholders, and are not influenced by the central government. So this one is quite interesting. But then again, well, there was one example, well, that one venture capital funding, $150 million in crowdfunding in 2019, and it was hacked, and then 50 million has been drained in terms of their crypto currency. But then again, later on, well, the hacking was reversed a couple of weeks later, and then restored. So it's really part of the blockchain. Another one is a 3D printing. Okay, 3D printing is not new. It's already maturity. You can get it for a couple $100. You can build one at home. But we're talking about nano scale now. So we're using lights, ultra fast laser, so that you can use this nano scale 3D printing. So that you can have a much faster than the current technology. Augmented intelligence, as you can see, is like a combination of two words: augmented reality and also intelligence. So really what it's saying is, well, you got the combination of both the intelligence and also the human center as well. So you're going to help, well, the human being. Well, you have another term for it. It's called the intelligence amplification. So it's going to help, well, the workspace, well, with a lot of intelligence, well, provided to the user. Autonomous vehicle, again, is something not new. Someone is presenting. Okay.
Mr. Basavan Patil, stop sharing.
So are you still seeing my screen?
You please
Okay then. So in here, but we're talking about flying drones, autonomous. They're going from point 1 to point B. Well, there are 5 different levels. Actually 6, including the level 0. So you will see the level 4 and level 5 will be later on as well. But in general, we're talking about the 5 levels, well, autonomous levels. But from level 0 is really no automation, and then the level 1 is the driver assistance. Level 2 is a partial automation. Level 3 is a conditional automation. Level 4 is high automations, and level 5 is a full automation. And we haven't come to that point yet. Transfer learning is really, well, one of the areas in a research problem in machine learning. So what we're saying is, well, when we have the knowledge from one particular problem, how well we can apply to different from related problem. So of course, it will be very useful and very powerful as well, to not only limited to certain domain, but we can apply to other areas. Well, emotions AI, if you go through the list of my thesis I have supervised, recently, one student, we're looking at using the EEG and trying to correlate with the emotion. So this is making use of AI and try to, well, understand and identify, well, the emotions of the user. Another term of this one is called affective computing, or maybe we call it artificial emotional intelligence. So this will be very useful when we're able to understand, well, the emotions of the user, not only just based on the understanding, but also we can anticipate the reactions. Light cargo or delivery drones. So this one, you can see, is quite similar to what you have on the flying autonomous drone as well. Synthetic data is quite interesting. So what I mean in here is really producing the data. So given the situation, they're not obtained by direct measurement. So in machine learning, AI, well, one of the bottleneck in the past is, well, we have to rely on a lot of data, well, to have to train a useful and meaningful system. So, but if there are limitation in that, so the question is, are we able to generate sufficient data, which is still useful in training the system? So this is where the synthetic data coming in. Knowledge graphs is another discipline. I have also recently, currently one student also working in that area as well. So it's really the integrates the information of ontology and to provide to derive a new knowledge. So in other words, well, it is just simply a way to model a knowledge domain with some subject matters. Then we can making use of the interlinks and machine learning algorithms. Another one is the personification. Some others simply call it personalizations. So Gartner defined it as a delivery of relevant digital experience, well, to the individuals based on the inferred membership in the defined customer.
Sorry to interrupt you again, sir.
Sorry?
Sir, presentation is not visible. Could you please reshare your screen, sir?
Okay, so let me try again. So it still tells me I'm sharing. I can't see the presentation on my side. Well, it tells me, well, my screen still can be seen.
At the same time, I request all participants to pin the screen of Dr. Lankas. You can just pin that screen so that even if someone else is presenting, that screen will not be visible.
So are you all right now? You see that it's resuming the presentation. Yes, now? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
It's all right now? Okay. So personalization or personification is really mainly useful in the digital marketing. Okay, let's move on. And explainable AI is another one. Well, in the past, well, one of the bottleneck in making use of a meaningful AI is what we call the black box. Well, as I mentioned earlier on, at that time, apart from really you train the neural network, it takes you a long time, and also it's sometimes not repeatable, so you're not too sure are you having a reliable system or not. And another one of the main problems is really the explainable. Well, they're not able to explain, well, why I get this particular result. You only relied on the notion that, okay, I get this amount of data, I train the system, and then, well, it turned out I get a good accuracy. Then I pump in some new data, well, I'm hoping that the answer should be usable. But really, in reality, there's no guarantee because you do not understand inside the neural network, everything is just connected by the weight and the nodes. So this will cause a major problem. In other words, well, can you trust the neural network tell you, well, in terms of the prescription of the medicine and also the diagnosis, well, of the sickness that you have? So if it is not really 100% reliable, and who is going to take the responsibility on that? So this is where the explainable AI comes in. So all these areas, well, you can consider, well, according to Gartner, well, on the emerging technology, that all these are on the rise. Well, they are paying attention to that. A lot of work has been done. But at the peak, well, some of this is already happening. And edge AI, well, if you come across the term of edge computing, what it means is, well, you have a lot of the processing can be done at the front end. Well, traditionally, you have most of these analysis, prediction, all those things are being done in the back end, whereby you've got a centralized system, whereby the knowledge-based system is there, making all the decisions. But if you consider right now, especially in the case of IoT, well, you have a lot of the system relying on this communication system, then you will have a major issue in terms of the transfer and also the latency. Because, well, that's why we have an ongoing, search. We're going to 5G, even moving to 6G, etc. Because we would like to increase the throughput as much as possible. So edge AI is looking at, how these AI algorithms can be embedded, locally, on the hardware design and the front end, so that you do not really need to, send the information back to the centralized system, and you can make the recommendation. Another major development right now, of course, a couple of weeks ago, you may have heard the SpaceX that launched 2 astronauts into space and entirely for a commercial operation. And this is the first time that anyone have done it. Well, in the past, all these are national efforts. Well, like NASA, like China, like Russia, the limited country can do that. But now, once you have the entire commercial operation do that, it's really a major breakthrough in the human civilization. But having said that, that is not the only part. Really, Elon Musk, they have one of the much more ambitious, is the space link. What they're looking at is, they want to put in around 12,000 satellite, all these are low Earth orbit satellite. Well, they are within maybe around 500 kilometers from the Earth's surface. Well, anything between 500 to 2,000 kilometers. Well, the main idea is, they can cover the whole Earth. And so by doing that, they will, unlike the normal satellite, which is a much more high altitude, but they are going to provide a much more faster response and much more slower latency. And really, they can cover all over the world. And this is the ultimate aim they would have. And I think the first one, they launched around 60 of those, and it's still ongoing. Well, we talk about the autonomous level, driving level 5. So this is entirely, you can hand off the rail and entirely autonomous. They take care of all the situations. But having said that, we did see that some of the accidents happened in the past and put some of this development on the hold. Edge analytics. So this one is very similar to the edge AI. Well, the one AI is talking about applying the artificial intelligence algorithm on the device at the front end, but now it's looking at the analytics, particularly looking at the major data analysis. AI has the platform as a service. As a matter of fact, this one is really well established. It's being used already. So what it means in here is, you can upload your data, and whereby, the platform is providing you the answers. And of course, there are certain elements to be involved. It could be hardware, it could be operating system, visualizations, middleware. And you have examples of this is already available, like the Amazon. They got the Amazon Web Services. You have the Google AI platform. You got an AI, IBM, Watson platform, and also you got a Microsoft Azure AI platform as well. So you can upload data and then get the result. Biochips, again, is another one interesting. Whereby, well, you have the analysis being done on a chip level. So you can even consider as a lab on a chip where you can do it to analyze some biological element like the DNA, like the protein, or any others, chemical. Well, again, this one you have a lot of applications. 5G again is you don't need anyone to tell you about the 5G. Well, it's providing you much more faster. Although, right now we do have some kind of political attention on that part. We get to see. But having said that, 6G is also on the way already. Well, graph analytics is another form of the data analysis. So you can work with a more complex relationship. So you provide the information through the nodes and links in the graphical formats. Well, another aspect of this one, sliding into the next generation memory. Well, in here, it's talking about, some of the upgrade of the next generation software and hardware products. It could be based on the categories according to the technology. It could be volatile, non-volatile, or maybe different applications as well. 3D sensing camera is again happening as well. And it's quite interesting. You see that now you go into Facebook, upload a picture, they can even ask you want to present in 3D or not. But mainly what it does is provide a depth as well, not only just simply the pixel. And then they also using the sensing techniques. So a lot of time they may be using of the infrared light. They have a more structured pattern. Autonomous driving levels 4. So you mean here is the high automation. So you can drive yourself without the human intervention, but then again, it's also still restricted to a certain users cases, and it's expected to see on the road as well, and also a lot of investment into this area. So you can see that these are the list of the emerging technologies that Gartner has highlighted through the high cycle. There is another article. From Gartner as well, called the top 10 strategic technology. This one was just published just a few months after the early article you have seen. It was published, I think, in November or October. As you can see here. You can see that they categorize into two main groups: people-centric. They got a hyper-automation, multiplex experience, democratization, human augmentations, transparencies, and traceability. And then looking at the devices itself, the smart spaces, they call it edge. Well, really, some of these terminology are based on some techniques that you have seen earlier on. They just simply depending how are you going to explain it and catch up with some new fancy terms. Distributed clouds, autonomous things, blockchain, AI security. So this is another 10 of these main things they have come up. So you can take a look, search it on the Google, you can have the complete document. So in here, the hyper automation is really referred to this case right now is we have so much help with technology, with the computer technology, AI, all these things. You can help it to automate the task, the ones that you require the humans. So we're really looking at entirely the machine can be running on their own. So it really provide you a new mindset of the operation of the business. Multi-experience, this is really based on a lot on the AR and the VR, those kind of things. It involves from a single point of interaction, including multi-sensory and multi-touch points interfaces like the wearables and advanced computer sensors. A lot of times nowadays, we have so much function on our watch. At one time, we have a lot of those rely on the mobile phone, but now on the watch as well. So, I'm wearing one of these smartwatch whereby you monitor, my health condition, my heartbeat, my sleep pattern, monitor where did I go, and then I can even speak to it just like a phone. It used to be like in a comic, the spy who did that. So, the other one. democratizations. So providing people with easy access to technical or business expertise without the expensive or costly training. What I mean is that now you have a lot of these code. It can be really coming up to the public. They can provide the support of this one. This is one time they call it citizen access. So they've been talking about, a couple of years ago in Ghana, they've been talking about having some kind of tool that people can put in your code so you can share the library. On one hand, you may argue that we can look at open access is trying to do that already. So mainly, the main idea is now reducing the time and the resources for the project. Human augmentations. So you're using the technology to enhance the human cognitive and physical experience. So you can look at it whereby you can enhancing humans who can raise, who can lift, say for example, a human being at the most can lift a couple of tens or even hundreds of kilograms of cargo. But now with the aid of a robot, it can help you just like what you see in some of the science fiction movie as well. So really, you're part of the robot. And also the robot can provide you the sensors. And then the transparency and traceability. So in here is one of the other issues in terms of the data privacy and protections. And also you have to go according to the international protection, the rules and guidelines, etc. As consumers become more aware of how the data is being collected and used, organizations are also reorganizing the increasing liability of storing and gathering the data. Example is just like in Europe, the EU, they have General Data Protection Act, so you have to really follow that. Say for example, even if you run the conference, you have all the information about the registration, you are not at liberty to release them. But now looking at the smart space, the empowered edge, I've already mentioned the two examples, like the edge AI and the edge analytic. So information processing and content collections are closer to the source of the information, thereby keeping the traffic local and reducing the latency in distribution. Cloud is another one. So you can see that you have the distribution not based on the single physical data center, but you can be distributed. Autonomous everything. So now they're talking about IoT. It's not only just simply as a low-end machine just collecting the data, but they can also make a lot of a decision. So you can be becoming fully autonomous, and then you can report a variety of the environments. Going to trial, we talk about the autonomous flying vehicles, air, sea, land, drones, robots, ships, and other appliances. Well, even at home, you may have a robot vacuum cleaner as well. Blockchain. Blockchain is another one. So although on one hand, we did hear some of the bad publicity about blockchain, but nevertheless, it's still a valid technology, although it might be immature. But then again, this is expected it's going to be put into practical use. AI security. Having said a lot of the good things about the AI and how it aids the users and the business, but nevertheless, it's also a better point because you have a lot of entrance point, become too vulnerable to the system. So all in all, just quickly, gone through all those terminologies, and the key emerging technologies have been highlighted and named it by Gartner. So now come to the point that, how do we see IEEE having a role in this? Well, if you try to summarize and take a look at some of the commonalities between those terms you have seen, of course, the first one come up very strongly is AI and some of the AI-related technology. We talk about machine learning, we talk about deep learning, and knowledge-based system. So you lead on to the learning and analytic technology. In the past, we may have a lot of theoretical mathematical formula algorithm. It sounds just too difficult and too complex to be implemented. But it seems now there's no longer a problem. And especially we expect the quantum computing is on the horizon, and that will be also providing entirely changing of the ball game in terms of computation speed. Network and communication technology. No doubt that we have seen the 5G is getting to maturity. But then again, well, I've already said, well, the 6G is already, well, working on. Brain technology is another one. Well, this is the one that we're looking at the interaction with the physical measurement, well, of the human being, EEG, and also a lot of the biological data. Blockchain, I've already mentioned. Well, although
Professor Mahantesh, please mute your mic.
okay, I can see that. So blockchain, we really need to look into the practical application. And computer technology, we're looking at, well, and other new ways of doing things. Well, quantum is already mentioned one, but because we're coming to the end, well, maybe the Moore's law, they'll be sooner or later going to hit the level, although we're still seeing is still achieving a very high density of semiconductor. We're still having it, but we're still going. And also another one is on the VR and the AR. So when I link up to the IEEE, as I mentioned, I have been chairing the NIC. You can go to our IEEE NIC website. You can see the list of the project we have funded in the last 6 years, between 2013 and 2019. So I've highlighted some of these, and you can see some of these terminologies are really go hand in hand with those emerging technology you have seen earlier on. IoT, it was funded between 2014 and 2016. Well, we fund 1.36 million. Big data initiative. This is the one you see how you link all the AI and machine learning link to it. I will show you the snapshot of some of those portals. All these initiatives later on. Well, we funded 2015 to 2017, close to $1 million. Cybersecurity. Well, you heard one of the last term you've seen just now is on AI security. And not long ago, we have one of the major papers came up, I think 2 years ago, 2017, I think, and I presented in 2019 as well. You talk about how AI and machine learning, can play a role in security, cybersecurity. Rebooting computing, this is the one that I mentioned, that we're coming to the end, maybe we're expecting coming to the end of the Moore's law. Then, what were the roadmap that they can come up? Brain initiatives, this is the one I mentioned. Okay, it was a typo earlier on. Digital reality, this is the one we're looking at all the AR and the VR technology. So this is the one just being funded recently. So if you go to another major committee in IEEE, you just search for IEEE FDC, Future Directions Committee. So you go to the website, and then this is the one on the newsletter and the blogs. They have a tech cloud. In this one, they do show you what are the articles related to these major terminologies. You can see AI comes strongly, 275, followed by digital transformation. It's really talking about the integration of the physical system, talking about the cyber, the computer technology, AI, all those things. And symbiotics, autonomous system, 162, and also others like augmented realities, brain, COVID-19 is coming up, 5Gs, robots, and smart cities that are now getting out of favor. It was around a couple of years ago. Self-driving cars, etc. So you can take a look at the website, take a look at the blogs, and a lot of papers, a lot of blogs are written by Roberto. Actually, he is my colleagues on the NIC committee. Then these are the major initiatives still going on. They are being supported by NIC, but they themselves are formed under the FDC as the community. So you can just go to the website, take a look. Blockchain. So it's really more than just simply the cryptocurrency. It's really applied. Some quite successful, like logistic is one of the major areas. Now we are also looking at it could be applied, looking into their even education, micro-credential. So we are, I've been talking about, you can make use of blockchain technology, as a proof of what you have gone through, what have you been trained, what you have, the examination you have taken. So instead of just simply relying on undergraduate or postgraduate certificate, because that doesn't tell you much. Even you look in the individual units, you're looking at the grade, but it just doesn't tell you what are in the detail inside there. So blockchain can have a major application in there. Brain initiative, this is the one I mentioned, to understand the brain functions and also how it linked to the physical world through the nervous system. Digital reality is another one. They're talking about the digital transformation, AI, machine learning, VR, and all those things. Future network, this is the one that go beyond the 5Gs now. Quantum, well, initiative. But this is the one we didn't fund it, but actually this is another major development. Reporting computing. So now I know that I'm running out of time now. I only got a few more minutes. So I just very quickly go through the snapshot of all these initiatives you can see for yourself. But this is the one on the blockchain. A lot of these you can see the commonality, tell you what it is all about, what some new things, what are the community conferences, education, publications. Okay, bring initiatives, what events they have, the competition, the podcast, standard, education, newsletter. Digital realities, again, similar, you can see. It's a quite standard type of format. Well, within IEEE, well, we have across the board. For future networks, so again, you can see a collection of all these. Roadmap is one of the major outcomes for most of these initiatives. Quantum, reporting computing, okay, the roadmap, well, for the devices and the system. Big data, okay, is another major initiative. This was also supported by Nick. And one of the main things I would say that the very good outcomes from this one is the establishment of a data port, whereby you have a collection of the databases, and then people can use it, and then also the trading system, and also comparison of the result. IoT, okay, it's already finished the funding, but you can see it's still ongoing. Cybersecurity. So not only for those initiatives, you also see a collection of the events coming up, well, within this year through future directions. So you can see through their website as well. You can see all going on. Okay, low power consumption, low power computer visions, network, software network. We're talking about a software defined network. They're talking about computer software and application conferences, 5G forum, smart grid, secure development conferences, smart cities, quantum week, etc. So all in all, what can we say? Well, when we look at just some recent articles on these emerging technologies, so we can say that technology is still ongoing, and they're evolving, and all these emerging technologies are shaping the landscape of businesses and our daily lives. And Gartner's reports, they do provide the regular updates on these emerging technologies for the business environment. But I would say that they apply not only just to business, also industry, higher education. A lot of those, if anything, you touch on technology. And mostly related to and build upon the initiatives or knowledge from the IEEE community. But really, in a way that as IEEE member, we are proud to say that although that we may not be directly funded or supported by Gartner, but they really rely on the things that we have developed. Students and IEEE members need to be kept abreast with the development and practical application on the commercial and industry applications. So really, as part of the objective and also the 2025 IEEE strategic plan is on lifelong learning. So we do see that our focus is going to develop as a trusted resources for education and career development for lifelong learning. And then I'll come back to say the last part is IEEE is truly we're fulfilling our mission of advancing technology for humanity. So this ends my talk. Maybe just 1 minute before. I thank you very much for attention, and I encourage you that we can explore and deploy the emerging technologies for the benefit of humanity. And you can see my website at lancefung.net, and also you can contact me through lancccfung@IEEE.org. Thank you very much. Okay, so I pass the floor back to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the informative talk. I'm sure definitely the participants are delighted with your informative talk. Now, sir, with your permission, can we take 1 or 2 questions from the participants, if there are any?
If any question, may I suggest that you type it into the chat? Okay, so easier for me to read from the chat and try to answer if I could. I don't have all the answers in the world, but I try to read. And so don't say that because, well, my connection over here is not too good. As you can see, sometimes my sharing was disrupted. So if you can type here, it's much easier.
Yeah, participants and delegates, if you have any questions, you can type in the chat box. 1 or 2 questions we'll happy to answer.
Okay, sir, can you enlighten us about the area where till now no technological solutions are not there, or weaker technological solutions? How to deal with a politician? Sorry, I can't really answer that question. No, because about areas till now, no technological solution and are not there. Sorry, that you can say a lot of abstract things not there. Well, I do not know really, honestly. I don't know what's one single answer to that. But what comes to my mind is a politician. Sorry about that. Okay, any others?
Yes. Any other question? Then you can put it in the chat box.
Okay, can you throw some light on application of blockchains in architecture and agriculture? Oh, good question. Good question. As a matter of fact, well, I mentioned about logistics. So one of the things in agriculture, we are quite concerned about biosecurity. Okay. Say for example, in Australia, well, I was involved. Well, looking back, maybe when I first started in mid of 2003, and then I worked with a colleague back in Curtin. Well, we are looking at some using RFID to tag the animals. So we are talking about, well, we try to trace the agricultural product, the meat in this case, from the time that they are born. As soon as the cattle, like the cattle or maybe the sheep they're born, they're being tagged. So they are being traced all the way until they go onto the supermarket shelf. So I think at that time, we just rely on the centralized information. Well, okay, RFID, and then they just simply follow the footprint and all those things. But really, the blockchain can go into this one. Because your argument is, well, if I go through a centralized database, well, that could be, well, hacked. That could be, anyone can change it. So if you're going to blockchain, distribute it, then hopefully we can maintain the accuracy of that. So that's one example I can demonstrate, okay? Actually, it's linked to logistics, but it's been applied in Australia context where we have in the agriculture and farming application.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Any other question? Last question, if any.
What are your views about blockchain in banking system? And it's already happening in terms, well, from my understanding, okay, we're talking about the Bitcoin and all those things, and also they're talking about the transaction of the contracts. And I believe it's already happening, okay? So it all depends on what system you're looking into. I myself do not really follow it in detail, but I'm pretty sure that, well, one of the good things is you can monitor the transaction and all those things. So take a look at our blockchain initiative website and take a look at what are the articles on that one, okay? With my suggestion. What is the difference between blockchains and database differences? Oh, okay. Can blockchain be used in computer visions? Well, I believe that blockchain is one of the major applications. It can monitor all the transactions, and then, well, the record put in the ledgers are being distributed. Well, so the argument is, well, if anyone, there's no way you can meddle or change, well, all the record at any one time. So that's how you can maintain the accuracy of that. So if you're having the database, well, in a way you can consider it's a form of database, but you got a ledger in there. So when everything is distributed, so this is my understanding of it. I do not really go to detail in the blockchain technology, but this is my limited understanding. Okay. Blockchain in supply chain management. I think this is similar to what we have mentioned about the logistics. So I'm pretty sure I also heard about in Australia, the wine industry. They have already used that as well. Okay. Okay, so I think, well, it's already 5 minutes past 11. You have another speaker coming up?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Sir, on behalf of Jain College of Engineering and Jain College of Engineering and Research and the organizing committee of INCET-2020, I wholeheartedly thank for having accepted our invitation and delivering a wonderful, informative talk today. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you very much every day, and I wish you to have a wonderful conference for the rest of the day as well. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So, dear participants, here we come to the end of first session of the day 3. That is invited talk by Dr. Lance. Now we'll move on further. Today we have totally 3 sessions. Now the second session will be starting immediately. The speaker for the second session is Dr. Hussain Mahdi. Right? So in a minute or two, I will be starting with the second session. So before we start the second session, I will introduce the speaker for the second session. So the speaker for the second session is Dr. Hussain Mahdi, who is a lecturer at Computer and Software College of Engineering, University of Dayala, Iraq. He has a great background of electrical and electronics engineering with an experience of nearly 2 decades. He received his PhD from University of Kebangsaan, Malaysia, and Master of Science from University of Technology, Baghdad, Iraq. He is IEEE Region 10 Young Professional Committee Southeast Asia Coordinator from 2017 to 2019, IEEE Region 10 Humanitarian Activities Committee 2017 to 20, IEEE PES Young Professional Committee Academic Lead from 2017 to 2020, IEEE IAS Chapters Area Chair Region 10 Southeast Asia, Australia and Pacific from 2018 to 2019, and IEEE Region 10 PS Student Chapter Chair from 2019 to 2020. IEEE PS Day 2019 Global, he has acted as IEEE PS Day 2019 Global Chair, and he was event committee member for IEEE HSC in the year 2019-2020. During serving under IEEE, he won the Student Leadership Award 2014 and 2015 from UKM Malaysia, IEEE Malaysia Student Leadership Award in 2015, Best Social Activity Award in 2015, IEEE Malaysia Section Outstanding Student Volunteer Award in 2015 and 16. He is a Darrell Chong Award winner, silver category for the project entitled ASEAN School on Renewable Energy, and winner of bronze category for project entitled Flood Relief Missions. IEEE MGA Young Professional Achievement Award in 2017 and 2018, and Young Professional Hall of Fame Award for IEEE PES Young Professional Committee. With this brief introduction, I am presenting before you Dr. Hussain Mahdi, who will be talking on the topic, the importance of international collaboration during COVID-19 pandemic. Right? Now, I request Dr. Hussain Mahdi to take over. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much for the invitation, and I'm really thankful for the organized committee invite me here to share some information about the importance of international collaboration. Okay, can you share my presentation slide? Okay.
You can share your screen, sir.
Yep. Okay, sorry. Okay.
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Hussain Mahdi from Department of Computer Engineering, College of Engineering, University of Dayala. I will talk today about the importance of international cooperation during COVID-19 pandemic. I graduated from University of Kebangsaan, Malaysia, National University of Malaysia, and now continue my postdoctorate. Therefore, I am traveling between Malaysia and Iraq. Now I am working under Dayala governor as advisor of the governor for humanitarian project. Also, I am arranging a Region 10 humanitarian technology activity, and also Power Energy and professional academic lead for all the world. Also, I am part of from humanitarian activity committee, event committee globally. Also, Region 10 Young Professional South Asia Coordinator, Region 10 Humanitarian Technology Activity, and why we need to do international cooperation. This is very important question for us in academia or industry field. Academia researcher has become now more over international because some of reason to access for specialized equipment, like example, develop a new idea or some tap into new source of funding. Therefore, it is also share the data and information with other people, enhance the experience, improving the international profile, and I classify the importance of international cooperation in 5 steps. And I will divide the layers of international collaboration in 3 parts. To foster international cooperation with reputed university, institute, a board for joint research, project, faculty and student exchange, joint workshop, and seminars, also joint programs. Developing and strengthening collaborative agreement between the university and foreign university, research organization, industry, and government agency. Share international best practice to foster high impact research through international partnership that advise the boundaries of knowledge and contribution to betterment of society worldwide. To provide high quality international education experience to the student through student exchange program, and I am one of these people who attend this program, and will I share my experience with you about the benefit of it. Participating in international project and include research from low-income country relevant project. It is also the international cooperation can help some country to develop the society and local community through the collaboration. We can see here, we can classify the international cooperation in 3 parts: researcher collaboration, student collaboration, and project collaboration. For each part we have advantage and disadvantage. We try to discover it and try to find a better way to do some international cooperation with other people. Okay, for researcher, international cooperation for researcher, we have several advantages. One of them, access to the knowledge. When you do some international cooperation with other people, you share them idea, you share them experience. Also, you can have access to new equipment, to new lab for this under this collaboration. Sharing experience with other people. You know, we're coming from different background, from different education background. When we combine our experience, our skills together, we can go out with better idea, with better solution. And always now in nowadays, we search about the perfect economic, scientific solution for our problem. Higher global profile. Like example, when you do some research project alone, maybe you can be recognized from just your university, maybe from your state if it is have some good impact in your state. But when you do some international collaboration with other people from different country, from different university, this is open the boundary for you to be recognized internationally, and to be your research project maybe have more impact. And also, you know, for first time I collaborate with some colleagues from India. Prof. Chanakia, I meet with him during IEEE conference. After that, we decided to do one research paper together. After that, he invited me to organize one conference with him. After that, I meet some friend. I extend my professional network with his colleagues. And I think he is the reason why I am here today. I think the organized committee know my name from my colleague Prof. Chanaki. Therefore, it is really good to have some international cooperation with other institute and other colleagues from different countries. High quality research, for sure. When you're doing some project with other people with different skills, you will come up with the high quality research paper. Also, you can increase the number of your publication. You can increase the number of citation from the international collaboration, because like I have some friend, you have some friend, we join in research paper. Your paper will be more recognized from other people and from other researcher in the same field. A new idea. According to my experience, every environment, every local, every community have different kind of a problem, and maybe it is similar. Sometimes it's similar to another community problem. Therefore, when we share our experience, when we join to do some cooperation, maybe we can discover more new idea and better solution for each idea. Creating professional network. International cooperation can enhance your professional career. Also, in the same time, you extend your professional network with other colleagues. Like example, now I know more than like 3 to 400 professor in my field. It's coming from international cooperation, also from volunteering with international organization. International cooperation for student. Access to the knowledge also, and for the student is have high impact to do some international cooperation, and there is several program for the student, like student exchange and also scholarship provided by some university. It is really good program, and I encourage all our students to attend these programs to access to the knowledge, to have a new labs, a new environment, work in new equipment, share experience. For sure, when you're traveling to another country with a different environment, different culture, you will learn a lot of new experience and culture exchange. You will know about them cultures, and you would be open-minded person and enhance your personality, and you'll be able to work with different people under team work. It is very important issue today, how to encourage yourself, how to adapt yourself to work in take position in teamwork. Therefore, cultural exchange enhance you and help you to be more open for others. Communication skills. This is very important issue now. How to improve your communication skills and your language skills. It is coming from go out from your comfortable zone. When you're traveling to a new country with a new culture, with a new language, you force yourself to improve your language and also communication skills to be in contact with the society. Also, the international cooperation for students, they increase the confidence. They be able to discover themselves and facing the new situation, because there is no success if you don't leave your comfortable zone. Therefore, I really see it is very important for our student, also for our researcher, to do some exchange, some exchange program. Creating network. One of the best advantage of international cooperation is creating network, social network, and also professional network, and connect with other people. One of the most important issues in engineering field, all of us know the engineering people is always thinking out of the box. They coming with the intelligent and very impactful idea, and we have many people with very perfect background, high skills, to solve the problem to solve their community problem. And one of the most challenging thing, it is the funding for demo project, funding for demo proposal to do it. Therefore, teamwork is very important, and when you have diversity in your teamwork, is in coming from different organization, different institute, collaboration with government agency, industry, and if it's extend your collaboration with the university outside your country, or cooperation with some researcher from different region, for sure this is give some power for your proposal and project. Good idea. Good idea should be related with the local community problem and visible impact. Economic solution for sure. Everyone, when coming to solve any problem, we should provide scientific and economic solution to be able to apply it and also commercialize solution. Sustainable solution, you should be have sustainable solution continue after, like the people who provide the fund stop funding your proposal, you should gain some income to continue your solution of this problem. According to my experience as IEEE member in humanitarian activity committee and also event committee, we reviewing a lot of proposal and to provide fund for sure. When we come, like for me, when I come to read the proposal, I focusing about several issues. One of them is diversity of the team. The collaboration between the team and other institute and agency, the impact of the solution in the community, and how we can be sure this solution improving the people life and the quality life for the community, and also sustainable and economic solution. Okay, there is some challenges also in doing international cooperation. There is a lot of advantage, from international collaboration, but also there is some challenges we can face it when doing some international cooperation. Culture misunderstanding, this is one of the most critical issues when we do international collaboration. We should be professional people. We don't look for the background of the people. We need to be we need to be more professional in how to solve the problem, how to understand the people, and be open-minded. Okay, therefore I mentioned in my early slide, student exchange program really is good program to understand the culture of other people and respect it. Lack of trust, this is one of the reasons that we can face during international collaboration, and maybe it is end our international collaboration, lack of trust. How we can gain the trust between the team member, it is one of most important part when you're doing international collaboration. You need to doing a lot of meeting, okay, conduct regular meeting, in-person meeting, face-to-face meeting, conference call, Skype, webinars. Communicate with your team member. Try to gain confidence and trust between the team members. Also try to establish ground of rules for communication, make environment of openness and acceptance. This is really important. And language barrier, one of the most difficulties maybe we can face when do some international cooperation, it is language barrier. We don't share the same language with others. this is also, maybe it's become one of the difficulties, and in the same time it is an advantage because it is force us and encourage us to improving our language skills. Physical distance barrier, this is also one of the challenges when we're doing some international cooperation. We cannot have a face-to-face meeting always, because we need to traveling, or maybe sometimes it is regarding for some scientific experiment, need to see what's happening in the lab. This will be one of the challenges for international collaboration. Lack of team identity. One of big problem maybe we did during during international cooperation, we don't identify each person responsibility. We need to divide the responsibility. Each one should know what is the main role for him, and also try to do some timeline table for each assignment, and we need all the team should know the big picture of the project to be able to work together to achieve it. Also, sometimes there is governance limitation on challenges, like okay, now I am in Iraq, like example. It's very difficult to have visa to come to my university, like example. And maybe like if we want to do some universities collaboration, some project together, we need to have a lot of document before we're doing that. But when I okay,
Participant, please mute your microphone.
okay, but in Malaysia, it is really very easy to get your visa, very easy to get all the document to do some scientific research or project research or student exchange, research exchange. And also, like example, India and Pakistan, because I organized some conferences, also I attend some congress for IEEE. I saw there is some problem when there is some participant from India to attend event in Pakistan, or some participant from Pakistan to attend event in India. Sometimes we like to do the cooperation, but there is some difficulties with government rules, and this is really very important issue need to be solved. Okay, now we come to the one of the best example for international cooperation, how they can enhance our idea, also the solution we provide to solve this problem. Take one of the greatest genius in the history, Albert Einstein. He also need to collaborate with some of his students to come out with the theory of gravity. And he is the very close friend. He is Crossman. He is the mathematician person. He told him, you must help me or else I will go crazy, because he cannot understand the whole idea. And they work together, and they come out with the theory of gravity, one of the most important discovery in our modern world. Okay. During the pandemic of COVID-19 pandemic, we're facing a lot of problem. We're facing a lot of problem, and also this pandemic, force us to stay at home during the lockdown. Therefore, a new technology it's appear one, and I try to list the most important 10 technology trend during COVID-19 pandemic. During COVID-19 pandemic, technology are playing a crucial roles to keep our society functional in a time of lockdown, and this technology may have long-lasting impact beyond COVID-19. The COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated 10 key technology trends, including digital payment, telehealth, and robotics. This technology can help to reduce the spread of coronavirus while helping businesses stay open. And this is very important. We need to move, and at the same time we need to be ensure we not separate coronavirus, and be ensure our people stay safe. Technology can help make society more resilient in the face of pandemic and other threat. And now I will describe these 10 technologies. It's appeared during the during COVID-19 pandemic. For sure, one of the most important way to separate coronavirus, it is cash payment according to the World Health Organization. Therefore, online shopping and robot deliveries is one of the trend technology during COVID-19, and it is I think it is coming from 2002. 2002, China people start establish this field, this kind of marketplace platform in China in 2002. Similarly, COVID-19 has transformed online shopping from nice to have. Before, we deal with the online shopping as a nice way for shopping, but during COVID-19, it's changed from nice to have. And nowadays, according to the last health report, it is not just have to, but must have doing shopping online around the world. Some bar in Beijing have, some shopping already. I think 60 to 70% of shopping now it's online shopping. Online shopping needs to supported by robots logistics system, in-person delivery, and also it is not virus proof. Many delivery company and restaurant in US, China, and other countries start to establish online shopping and sending the product to at your place and at your home. Second trend technology is digital and contactless payment. As you can see in the slide, there is a lot of kind of payment start now majority of our people now start doing digital and contactless payment, because cash maybe carry the virus. So central bank in China, US, South Korea has implemented various measurements to ensure banknotes are clean before they go into circulation. Now contactless digital payment, either in the form of card or wallet, are recommended payment method to avoid the separate of COVID-19. Okay, digital payment enable people to make online purchases and payment of goods, services, and even utility payment, as well as to receive the fund also faster. Then this kind of digital payment, it's easy, faster, and also safe. And now I think there are more than 1.7 billion unbanked people who may not have easy to access. This is one of the disadvantage. According, I think, non-development country, they don't have bank account, who may not have easy access to digital payment. Also the security and all also the reliable internet. And the third technology, and I think all of us use it now, it is remote work. Many companies have asked employees to work from home. Remote work is enabled by technology, including virtual private network, voice over internet protocol, virtual meeting, cloud technology, work collaboration tools, and even facial recognition technology that enable a person to appear before a virtual background to attend any important meeting from home. Like everyone know now, IEEE organization shift all the meeting, conferences, workshop to be online, not offline. There is no face-to-face meeting. There is no gathering because of the virus. And now I think academia people, industry people, researcher, everyone now should be work from remote, from home, and we need to adapt to using that. Remote work also imposes some challenges to employ and employers. Information security, private and timely teach support can be big issue, as we know. And also, if remote work is, it's continue after COVID-19, maybe some country will facing some problem with the workers, because they can like use people from other country with low salary. Therefore, we need to go out to come out with some legal rules to control the remote work. Now you can see in my slide there is some struggle and problem for to do some remote work, and according to some analytic, we can see here 20% struggling with collaboration and communication. 20% of the people who work remotely suffering from loneliness, 18% not being able to upload, 12% distraction at home. Everyone, maybe have this experience when you have a meeting, when you have talk, webinars, and there is some kids come behind you, or it's happened for everyone. 10% being in different time zone and this is really the worst problem. Like I face it. Sometimes I have to deliver talk in 3 a.m. and today, like example, today morning I have a session chair at 5 a.m. In Bangladesh. Therefore, it is very difficult, time zone different, and connect people from different region, from different country. But when you are willing to have international cooperation, you need to adapt yourself about that time zone different and how you can deal with it. 7% from the people staying motivated, and this is the worst case. How you can be motivated all the time, because you're working in small area and you don't go out, you do the same activity. Therefore, one of the most important issue to think positive and try to do some kind of activity, make you happier, and also keep you health, what we call health lifestyle, even during lockdown. 5% take vacation time. There is no vacation. 3% finding reliable Wi-Fi, and according what you see, there is some problem with electricity during my speech. It's shut down twice until now. this is one of the problems that we can see in reality. 5% other reasons. And also one of the most important trend technology, distance learning. And I think every house now during nowadays have experience with distance learning for the kids, for his kids, for himself, maybe if he's student, lecturer, have kids, everyone have different kind of experience with the distance learning. As of middle of April, 191 country announced or implement school or university lockdown. And this lockdown impacting over 1.57 billion students around the world. And after that, the people coming with a lot of education models. Many education institutes start offering courses online to ensure education was not distributed by lockdown. Technology involved in distance learning are similar to those for remote working, and also include virtual reality. Virtual reality, 3D printing, and artificial intelligence enable robot teachers. All technology really give nice solution to continue our education at home. Concept about the distance learning, including the possibility the technology can create a wider divided in terms of digital readiness and income level. And according to my experience as academia person, distance learning and online teaching cannot replace the offline teaching face to face. It's maybe can be taken as a solution for this pandemic, but we cannot continue with it because it's using to enhance the student skills, but cannot be cannot replace the offline teaching. Also, one of the most important technology needed during COVID-19 pandemic, it is telehealth. Through lockdown measurement have reducing in-person interaction. Human creativity has brought to the party online. Could the telehealth can be effective way to contain the spread of COVID-19 while still providing essential primary care. And according to the slide you can see in my presentation, how much the number of cases using telehealth care increase from March 16 to April 6 is like 1.5 million case. That means 15 times increasing in just 3 weeks. And however, in country where medical costs are high, it is important to ensure telehealth well covered by insurance to reduce the effect of economical effect on poor people. And I think before the COVID-19 pandemic, some people using this kind of technology to help people in remote area to take the correct the correct medical treatment. But now everyone can use it, and we can see how much it is important nowadays to use it. Online entertainment, for sure, during the lockdown, this is very important to keep the people engaged, doing some activity, and bring them out of loneliness. Therefore, many companies start providing services, online entertainment services. We can see a lot of movie channel now, social media, and even like sport, movie, music, everything is now become online, and it is a new. I think it is a new what we call a new industry field, online entertainment. One of the important issues appear during COVID-19 pandemic is supply chain. The supply chain therefore we return back to industry 4 revolution that many times people talk about. I think also my colleagues, he will present next of my presentation. He will talk, talk more about this issue, the smart cities and the ruling of industry 4 to enhance the people life equality. How we can, the COVID-19 pandemic has created disruption to the global supply chain with distance and lockdown. Some factories and company completely shut down, while demanded for food, personal protective equipment. Some countries have implemented different level of export ban on this item. And the core technology of the fourth industry revolution, such as big data, cloud computing, Internet of Things, and blockchain, are building more resilient supply chain management system for the future by enhancing the accuracy of data and also encourage data sharing. And this is what appear in my slide, how industry 4 revolution can provide the best supply economic system for as a solution and during COVID-19 pandemic. Also, one of the most important technology provide us immediately solution: 3D printing. Majority of engineering for sure went to use 3D printing to solve the needed of some equipment, urgent equipment, because we don't have export product during the COVID-19. 3D printing technology has been deployed to mitigate shock to supply chain and export ban and personal protective equipment. 3D printing offers flexibility in production. The same printer can produce different product based on the different design file and materials, and simply part can be made on site quickly without requiring a length to wait until receive it or waiting the shipment to arrive. And majority of us using the 3D printer to produce some equipment like face mask protector. We provide it for the clinic, for the people who work in healthcare field, as as to protect them from the coronavirus. Also, majority of us watch and see what's happening in China, in Korea, Japan, also in US. They're using the robotics. They're using the robotics and drone to help them to reducing the contact between the human and the people who affected by coronavirus. COVID-19 make the world realize how heavy we really on a human interaction to make things work. And they use the robotics in hospitals, deliver the product and goods, also to clean up the hospital, the street during COVID-19 pandemic. And now I have some international cooperation with some colleagues from Pakistan to doing robotics. I will mention it in the end of my presentation also. And 5G and information and communication technology, ICT. It is one of the most trend field nowadays for research to develop, and I think it is the all the mentioned above technology cannot work without reliable and stable, high speed and affordable internet. Therefore, the 5G has, very important role to play, very important roles during this crisis to help us to solve the problem of COVID-19. And I think it is very important to start establish 5G devices and be ensure we have high reliable internet in our community to continue moving. And I think my colleagues will talk about this topic also. And like what I mentioned, the robotics and drone is very important technology during COVID-19. Therefore, we come out, me and my friend Prof. Said from the computer engineering department, American University, to do one project we call a robotic system for killing COVID-19 in Iraq. This project is collaboration between two universities, two different IEEE section, to provide one robotics to decrease the contact between the patient, COVID-19 patient, and also the medical the medical staff. In the end, I encourage everyone, student, researcher, academia, or in industry field, to collaborate together, because now we live in the same world, we carry the same mission, the better life for humanity, and our collaboration and working together can achieve this aim. Because if we want big impact, use big image, and to do that we need real collaboration, and we need to share the correct information and correct data. And nowadays you can see how much important is the correct information and to control the effect of coronavirus pandemic. Thank you very much. And if you have any question, this is my personal contact. My email, hussain.mahdi@ieee.org, and also my contact number, the Malaysian number and the Iraqi number. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your very informative talk. I request participants, if you have any queries, you can put it in the chat box.
Information kodadana.
Sir, I think there is one question in the chat box, sir.
Yep, I got it.
Iraq, Malaysia.
Okay. 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 As I mentioned, the international cooperation is very important for us as a researcher to improving our research quality and also the citation, citation number of publication. But we need to build some trust environment and also share the responsibility between of us. Need to view. Okay, sir, please can you explain 6 point? The 6 point, it's okay. 6 point. 1 minute. Online entertainment. Hello.
I think, sir, it is about technology trend.
Yeah, online entertainment. Okay. Okay, during the lockdown, there is like example, we go to the movie industry field, like example. The movie, now there is no cinema. Therefore, I think the people start thinking about the online cinema, okay? We need to go to online entertainment, increasing the online entertainment product. Majority of the people, even like example for me, like example, I am sport person. There is some sport channel you need to pay to have the correct exercise, like example schedule. People who are interesting about the music, there is some channel for music. People who are interesting about movie, there is some channel for movie now. Versus the country is not follow the rules of collaboration. True. Yes, Prof. Lance, for sure true. One of the worst thing happened, we don't share this, the correct information between us. Like now, the conflict happened between US and China about the correct information. We facing a global pandemic. We need to be sure we work together as a team. Without that, we cannot survive.
So there is one more question, I think. We'll take it as a last question. What will be
Okay.
the online teaching learning impacts as concerned with health of individuals?
Okay. What will be online teaching learning impact as a concept with health of individual? Okay, I think I attended yesterday some webinar about that. The loneliness is one of the most worst effect during COVID-19 and lockdown. Need to think positive. Need to do some some good exercise, like sport exercise, like yoga. Engage ourselves with some good habit. Also, if you can doing volunteering is very good. That if you're doing some volunteering program, volunteering project, help us to continue feeling that we are important to the society. Also keep reminding us how much we are important for the people. Like, what is the volunteering? If you cannot go out to do something good, you can like share your knowledge, help the people, communicate with people outside, encourage them. This will be fine.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. On behalf of the organizing committee, INCET 2020, I wholeheartedly thank for accepting our invitation and delivering your talk. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation.
So we'll move forward. The third session will be starting shortly. So the speaker for the third session is Aleksandar Mastilovic. Like I'll be introducing the speaker for the third session, Aleksandar Mastilovic is currently employed as the Director of Telecommunications at the Communications Regulatory Agency, Bosnia and Herzegovina from December 2017. He moved back to the Bosnia and Herzegovina as the part of an initiative for creating an expert group of the regulatory authority competent for the implementation of 4G, digital TV, and other significant and critical national projects in Bosnia. Since January 2017, Aleksandar has started serving in the IEEE on the global level as an executive board member. Aleksandar is an active IEEE volunteer for more than 17 years, and nowadays he is the active member of a few working groups and executive committees on a global level, like IEEE Publication Services and Products Board, IEEE Conferences Committee, IEEE Young Professionals Committee, IEEE Platform Guidance Group, IEEE Internet of Things Standard Steering Committee, and many other global levels, but also in Bosnia and Serbia in their local sections and chapters. He served in the IEEE Industry Engagement Committee in 2017. He is very active in promoting smart technologies for improving quality of life and building a smart society at all. Aleksandar has substantial international experience in technical, business, education, and regulation, a legal side of smart technologies. His working experience helped him to build triple helix-based understanding and multidisciplinary knowledge from government, business, academia sectors perspective. He has awarded a grant from IEEE Communication Society for first summer school for 30 best PhD students in telecommunications worldwide in the year 2015, and is the author of 8 papers on IEEE conferences and workshops. Furthermore, he was one of the 19 members in the international expert group in IEEE for creating the trend survey paper, Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning applied in cyber security. His research interest is cellular mobile system, that is 4G, 5G, with focus on Internet of Things applications and services, and especially for smart cities and their initiatives, but also computer networks, design, routing and switching, and communication security, including applied mathematics methods, algorithms in cryptography. Aleksandar is the project leader of many past and current international, regional, and domestic projects related with smart cities, smart grid, and emergency communications, including first practical implementation of the smart city services in Bosnia and one of the first in the region. EU made project E-Smart City, smart public lights in East Sarajevo in the competition with the development agency of East Sarajevo and local government. Aleksandar is also co-founder and agitator for the European Robotics Week program in the Bosnia. He received Marie Curie Fellowship from EU for PhD studies and was working on the FE7 Advantage IDN project in working package team for smart home design at University of Novi Sad, Faculty of Technical Sciences, Serbia. The primary research topic is architecture design for 5G cellular system with focus on optimizing uplink communications and power control in small cells and uncoordinated random access control for massive and critical machine-to-machine communications as his PhD topic. With this brief introduction, I am presenting before you all Mr. Aleksandar Mastilovic, who will be talking on the topic Smart Cities for Smart Society, the path to new living style in the 21st century. Over to you, sir.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Okay, you are hearable.
Hi. Thank you very much, Professor Praveen and Professor Shidar, for the invitation for INCET conference. and thank you for a very nice introduction of me. I want to share with you today one very interesting perspective on our technology topic. Just let me share my presentation right now with you, just to be sure that everything is okay. Because this is my first time I'm using Google Meet, so okay, I hope it will be working. Just a second.
Okay, go to the
Okay, I
present now.
yes. I just need to allow, let's say, to allow the Meet to use Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, it was issue with permission to share my screen. Yeah, this is first time actually I'm using Google Meet, so I apologize for the technical issue. I want to share with you today one a little bit different perspective on technology. And I have excuse for that because actually right now during the global pandemics, we faced a few challenges. For the first time in our history, we didn't actually, it wasn't necessary to convince the regular people outside of engineering world that technology is useful. Actually, the best proof for that is this conference, because unfortunately, we are not together in physical way, and we have to actually work on this conference in the virtual way. So we have to say thank you to technologies, because otherwise we will not be able actually to be here and to discuss on different topics today. So from that perspective, I can say that I just can say that we don't need to convince anybody that digital transformation is something what is really necessary, and maybe it's not the only way to work in the virtual layer, but also we have to be ready to use the virtual environment if it's necessary. The second very important perspective what we can check on the internet around during the pandemics is something what I wasn't aware that the global audience are not educated and very well informed about the technology and actually what we are doing here as a scientific engineering community. And we can read a lot of articles based on different conspiracy theories, what is practically the product of the fear and not enough information, for example, on 5G. So I suppose that most of you read a lot of articles, that, especially in Europe and in the United States, that many base stations are burned by citizens because of fear of electromagnetic radiation effects on the health. And I understand that we need to leave our scientific engineering box and try to inform our people. So I want today to discuss and try to put together technology with social impacts and ethics side, some kind of non-engineering perspective together, just to change the usual path for keynote talk or presentation in scientific conferences, which is actually usually based on, let's say, a lot of mathematical operations, proofs, and scientific forms. So I want to talk about smart cities because smart city is something what is very obvious. If we have any effect in these directions, in this kind of applications, global audience, the regular citizens, your neighbors actually can be aware of many benefits of technology. We can talk also about the smart industry. We can discuss about many other applications. These kind of applications are usually related with some local, with some location in very close. Sometimes there is some, let's say, limitations to go there, record, and present because of business reasons, of course. If you want to present the power of technology, I think the smart city is one of the best topics you can do it. Why I want to talk about smart society? Because I want to prove that smart cities and technology as whole is not the purpose by themselves. Everything what we are doing, everything, any reason because we're getting funding from our governments and supports to research and to work in establishing new solutions. We are doing that to create a better world, sustainable world, environmental friendly solutions. And let's say that in one moment we have a right to dream about something what we can call a smart society of the 21st century, which will be better than the world we have right now. So in technological world, we are surrounded with many, let's say, buzzwords and hot topics right now. We can talk about smart cities, 5G augmented reality, smart grid, artificial intelligence, big data, digital transformation, including e-government, paperless economy, cybersecurity issues, etc., etc. So from this bench of different topics, I want to put focus on something what I say the cent triangle of technology for this decade. I want to especially underline the Internet of Things, and I want to define Internet of Things as the term we use to describe the massive deployment of sensors, which should collect massive amount of data about many different things, including our habits in our home, just to check how we use our TV or oven in the kitchen or our computers, just to be able to collect that data, of course, with privacy side of story, but to collect our data just to be able to predict and plan some resources, like, for example, electrical energy production during the same day or during the months in 1 year. People generally have a different habit of usage electrical energy. So in the period of working hours, people are not at home, but when we get home, we start cooking, taking showers, using the many devices at home. So the consumption of the energy significantly is increased. So we need to plan production for that moment. And a second example, we can, for example, count the number of people using the public transportation in some period of the day when people going to their offices and going back from offices to homes. Later, we have significantly increased the need of public transportation. So in that moment, if we can track that and predict that moment, we can use more vehicles in the streets to establish the high quality service for our citizens. Between these two moments, actually, we can save a lot of money if we just decrease the number of buses, for example, in the streets, to avoid that buses are driving around empty, what is actually expensive, and we are losing money. So we can optimize our finance construction, we can optimize usage of our resources, and of course, we can talk about many secondary benefits as environmental effects, etc., etc. So this is the IoT. The moment when we product a lot of data, we need to transfer the data from the moment of the source of data to some locations where we can store and analyze this data. So we need a very strong telecommunication infrastructure which are able to provide connections to millions, even billions different sensors. So the regular mobile networks, 4G, for example, are not ready for that because 4G and previous generation of mobile networks are designed to serve human-centric applications like calls or short messaging. From 3G, we have also data transfer and access to internet. But if we want to compare the number of mobile devices, even if we talk about billions in the global level right now, it's at least 10 or maybe 100 times less than the number of devices we can expect in the next 10 years, because we actually expect to install sensor in literally each device you can see around yourself right now, sitting in your homes or your offices. So we want to track our habits, how we drink coffee, and actually next to me is a smart mug. Next to me is also smart bottle, which counting actually how much water is my intake daily. So I'm already living this kind of life. So yeah, this is something what is my personal passion. But if you want to transfer the data from many applications, smart cities, from smart grid, from the industry, from for example, self-driving cars, automated vehicles, which are coming actually right now, we can say that we need some completely new technology like a 5G based on completely different architecture. And why 5G? Why not fiber optics? Because we need mobility. We need to track the object in motions, especially for self-driving cars, for example. And mobile networks are easier for installation, for maintenance, etc. So after IoT, we have a 5G as a telecommunication infrastructure, and at the end we have the term big data. Big data is the, let's say, the bunch of data. It's just imagine the huge mountain of data in some raw format. It doesn't define the necessary that we are talking about some structured data like a database. We are talking just about a huge amount of data with some specific metadata, some tags which identify maybe GPS location, where is the source of data, the time when actually these parameters appeared first time. So later we can correlate something using advanced mathematical algorithms, artificial intelligence, machine learning based mathematical models, and of course different models of optimization. We can find correlation between data which is not obvious for us. For example, let's say just everyday example to be able to illustrate in our heads what's going on there. If it's raining, it's very logical that you will take umbrella, and you don't need a big data and something what is advanced to predict this action. But what if we collecting data and after month 2, 3, your algorithm find that every time when it's raining, actually you prefer black color of your jacket. Color of jacket, for example, as a parameter, is not something what is a common sense to be related with raining, actually. But there is a many things happening around us which we are not able to. Actually, we cannot define the hypothesis for research because we are not aware that there is many correlation between things happening around us. So we expecting that if we collect billions of gigabytes from the billions of sensors in the period of time, we can correlate completely different and on first observation not correlated data and find some kind of correlation and relations between this data just to looking for new knowledge. And new knowledge is something what is added value for us. And that's the reason why this, let's say, digitalized world going to fourth industrial revolution, and this fourth industrial revolution is actually named the information age. Just because the best businesses in the world right now are not in electronics, are not in just in software. It's about information and data, and the best proof for that is companies like Google, like Facebook, actually, and a whole value of these companies actually are based on collected data. So this is the triangle: Internet of Things, 5G, and big data, and everything was going on happening right there. So if we want to push out technologies in our everyday life, we have to risk, because a lot of us are a little bit scared. We don't want to move from our comfort zone, the lifestyle, which becomes actually our habits. Sometimes we behave as a robots, just some everyday routine. But if we want to push this world forward and to make them really smart and better, we need to leave our comfort zone. So I want to cite this one amazing sentence, that life begins actually at the end of your comfort zone. So if you want to really reach some great achievements in your life, not only in technology, what you need to be ready to change yourself and your usual form of behavior. So I will not be focused too much on this discussion about the 5G here, but I want to focus on something. There is no button where when one technology solutions is born. It's a continuous process. And from first generation of mobile networks to fourth generation of mobile networks, we are talking about the permanent research and improving of technology. So nobody can say that we press the button and we jump in the 5G era. What actually I can read in many articles around the world, especially related to conspiracy theories. So 5G is not something new, unrelated with the existing technologies, especially with 4G. It's a natural process. Actually, the global organization of 3GPP every month organize the meetings of working groups discussing different aspects of mobile technology. And every year, the 3GPP actually published something what they name release. In Q4 or in 2017, the final release was enough good and enough forward to announce the new generation. So we cannot predict which release in the future will be announced officially as a 6G, but we can say that the technological progress are continuous thing, and everything what we are doing right now, we're sending our contribution to scientific databases, and then the collection of all these results actually in one moment means a new technology. So there is a few timelines just proving that So it's a very important that we cannot jump from one point to other point. We need to walk step by step in small results, and of course, because of only marketing reasons in one moment, some specific release in some specific point becomes very attractive in the world. We just define the new names for technology and start promoting this technology, but that's actually the business side of story, not only academic. As I said in the very beginning, I will try to discuss to use actually my experience, because I used to be academic for 10 years, and of course I established my own startups. I was in business for years, and last 2 years I'm working for a government national regulator. That was just my personal challenge, what I defined, to try to spend the part of my career also from the perspective of government and regulations for technology, because only if you have observation from all 3 points to some technological issue, you can really understand what's going on there, and all 3 sides of story are really necessary. So just to be able to actually fulfill all goals we defined from Internet of Things, 5G, and big data, you need to follow the few small goals. We defined applications, and this is very interesting triangle where you can check what's the industry of this decade, and we have to be ready actually to follow these ideas. I'll just jump over a few slides. Actually, this is something also new in the mobile networks. This is actually the idea that you can buy, better say rent, the part of spectrum on base station for your private network. This is something what would be new in the 5G. This is just application in the traffic also. It's very important to identify necessity for ultra reliable low latency communication, what is a huge challenge today in telecommunications world, because you need to serve many critical applications while self-driving cars, and it's very necessary to establish communication without latency between vehicles, pedestrian vehicles, and infrastructure, and many other aspects of communication from vehicle to other objects. So I'll just jump over a few smart city, let's say, application like a smart parking services. You can manage solutions using, of course, mobile networks. In that case, you can manage the you can actually manage the traffic. If you can manage the parking, you can manage the traffic and try to avoid the traffic jams in some specific period of day. If you, for example, change the price of parking for parking places per hour, in case of increasing the number of vehicles in some part of city, you can increase the parking price in that, just to push people to leave their cars earlier in some other part of city, just to change the traffic streams in that moment. It's also idea, for example, to reroute public transportation if it's necessary, to control traffic lights, etc., etc. So if we can collect all this data about the current state in the cities, you can create, of course, the algorithm to optimize the processes. There is also many other applications. It's a GPS tracker, which could be based on NB-IoT technologies, but also it could work on LoRa or any different technologies. In Europe, there is a promotion for new smart luggage by Samsonite. It's actually the trackable luggage. So this is just the proof that you can install sensors and technology actually literally everywhere. So it's just about the market when we are ready to accept these new technologies. Of course, that if we want success for these technologies, there is two key questions. First question is cybersecurity, because if you have sensors and electronics in everything, if anybody can hack these devices, your privacy, maybe even your life, could be in danger. When I say life, I'm thinking about self-driving cars. So just imagine the Tesla car. If any hacker can take control of self-driving car, so actually the people in the car are in trouble, maybe in danger, let's say. So it's not just about somebody will hack your emails or your Facebook account. What is actually is not good also, because there is a many private data there. But with installation of technology in many different aspects of life, or just imagine the remote medical surgery operation. So if any hacker can block the communication between the doctor and the patient, in that moment we can actually discuss about something what is very dangerous to lives of people. So this is the one aspect, cybersecurity. Second, very important aspects of accepting technology is privacy. So we can track a lot of things, but we must not relate the data with specific person, especially identify person by name. We can say the citizen ID number, this and this, but we have to be very careful. If we don't have even legal regulation for cybersecurity and privacy, the regular people, especially in some part of worlds, for example, in Europe, are very sensitive on a privacy issue, will reject installation of technology. So our work as engineers, as a scientists, will be just nulled by global opinion of wider population. We need to promote and explain technology, and just explain and educate the regular people about what we are doing, why we that doing, and what are benefits for all of us if we want to convince them to accept new technologies and new solutions. For example, you can see this slide. If you are scared that if you use this luggage, somebody can track you, you will not use this luggage. The purpose of this luggage is, if your luggage is lost, it's going to be easier to find it. But if you taking your luggage with you, walking, and somebody can track you, you will not be happy with that, let's say, especially in some part of worlds. In some other part of worlds, people are not too interesting for privacy, and another world, it's a ultimate condition for accepting the technology. So of course, later we can talk about the smart metering also. Just imagine in one city, 10 million people or more, how many companies or individual residents for citizens you have. In places you can measure, I don't know, heating, energy consumption, electrical energy consumption, water usage, and many other things. Just if you imagine that we are talking already about maybe 100 millions of sensors. I apologize. Hundreds millions of sensors, maybe even billions. So in that case, you can see that we can actually transfer some simple jobs to machines. And in that moment also, there is a lot of discussion around the world about that machines, not only robots, but also these smart meters will kill many jobs for people around the world, what is also something what are people very scared of. It's very important to explain people that the number of jobs never decreased in the moment of technological evolution. What happened? Some type of jobs will disappear, and that's a not natural process. So if you just check the world 100 years ago, many jobs what people did in that period is not something what existing right now, because I don't know, robots, machines. For example, we are using cars right now. Nobody using, let's say, not say nobody, but 95% of people around the world using cars, not horses anymore. So it doesn't mean that horses don't have the purpose in the world today, but their purpose are changed. So the same thing will happen in the job market. So maybe we need to be re-educated. We can educate ourselves for some new skills, some new knowledge, and maybe we are under pressure to be in the permanent education for a whole life, and that's maybe something what is new. But also it's very important to understand that the natural process it's happening through the whole history of humanity, is not only now, but let's say, if you remember my slides, the global world is some kind of comfort zone in last 50 years. We have electricity in our homes. We have, let's say, our world is not in wars massively, no world wars anymore. Let's say that we have better or worse infrastructure everywhere. You don't need to produce food, you can buy food. We have the system, and now people are in comfort zone, a little bit scared to try to leave this comfort zone and risk anything. So maybe in that line we can find the excuse for rejection of technology. I just came on one slide what I find is very important, and I think that all researchers, engineers, but not only engineers, everybody in the world have to remember. This is United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, 17 of them. It's a direction of actually it's a goals we should follow by our research programs. Our governments around the world should fund actually projects which looking for solution for these 17 challenges. In all these challenges, you can use technology as a tool to resolve that challenge and these problems. So some of them are more related to engineering, some of them not so related, but there is always a space for using technology for looking for solution. So from this perspective, for my topic today, for my work, I find the goal 11 the most interesting. It's the goal sustainable cities and communities. The term smart cities is inside this goal actually, and this is actually the vision of management and definition of quality of life for citizens in the urban areas in 21st century. Especially in India, there is a prediction that during actually before 2050, at least 10 cities in India could be bigger than 30 million of people. And in that case, just imagine, you have a city government trying to organize public transportation, let's say infrastructure, electricity lines, power supply, water supply, garbage distribution, and I don't know, a lot of challenges. Just to plan roads in these cities, it's become too complicated. So in that moment, we need to start using technology to collect as much as possible data to be able to plan and manage this infrastructure and public services. So, for example, now we can, and actually what's happening right now in the world, the people just, using the water, and we don't care. We are not trying to save water because, okay, we have enough water for these cities. Let's say that we have a loss between 10 and 30% of all resources around the world. I just read one article before a month that in the USA and European Union, the 30% of food is waste. Actually, in the same moment, you have hundreds of million people around the world no food for today, actually. And we are talking about the distribution of our resources and usage optimization. It's not only about food, we can talk about energy. Maybe if we have more knowledge, more detailed knowledge, collected data from some different position in smart grids or in the consumption side with citizens, we can plan our resources better. So, of course, I don't want just to talk. I want to present you right now something what I did here in Sarajevo in Bosnia and Herzegovina. It's actually the first full operational smart city service. It's completely done by local people. We actually create a smart public light system. What means smart public light system? We have a sensors and photo cell, and we identify when the night is coming. It becomes dark. In that moment, the public lights turn on. But in the very beginning of the working hours for public lights, the power level is 100% as a regular public lights. But there is also sensor of motion and many other sensors tracking if there are pedestrians around. In the moment when the public light system find that 15 minutes or more there is no pedestrians in this area, each 3 minutes the public lights decrease their power for 20%, from 100% power to 80% power, then 60%, and a few steps going to 20% of total power, just trying to keep very, very weak light, just to avoid the street to be dark because safety, of course, but trying to save energy in the same time. In the moment, if sensors detect the new pedestrians, what's happening, for example, in the middle of night, there is no pedestrians, or maybe just somebody can appear because any reason, the lights actually going back to 100%, and the cycle will repeat again after that. So why we are waiting for people stop moving 50 minutes or more? We are just trying to avoid the permanent transition of the power in the lights, because actually we are decreasing the lifetime of the bulbs, what is actually not good, because increasing cost of maintaining the public lights. So we use a few parameters, opposite parameters, in the calculation, and we create the optimization algorithm. But what is very important, this system collecting the data of habits of people. For example, people prefer to walk more during the summer compared to winter time, prefer to walk more in the weekends than the working days. So our system can re-optimize in many iterations, depends of new data coming. So in that situation, actually, we increase our efficiency step by step. So I will just jump over a few slides here. You can see the map with the GPS location of public lights. This is the basic statistics of public lights. You can see, for example, the dynamic dimming. 80% of power for 26 minutes, and then 40% of power for 4 minutes. You have actually statistics how much time each single pole of public lights was working on different power levels because of some reason. So some sensors had a trigger and start with some specific action. This is actually the increasing of power savings during the months. We start the project in March, and you can see the black line. Actually, it's estimated savings in percentage compared to the system before installation of smart sensors. So we started with 38%, and we are now on the level of 47, because more data means more knowledge, and our system can self-regulate itself better than in very beginning with empty database. So yeah, this is the dashboard with the most important statistics. You can see the 16 devices, 16 poles of public lights are under control. All of them are connected to one gateways. We use the LoRa technology to interconnect the poles. Then we are connected to mobile networks, and we are sending data to operational center in the city government. Energy consumption in the last 6 months, you can see estimated saving in 6 months. You can see the percentage of saving in that moment, and of course you can recalculate energy savings to environmental let's say parameters, so you can see how many kilograms of carbon dioxide are saved in the last 6 months. Of course, there is many other benefits we are not presented here, but something what is very popular for discussion in Europe right now is, let's say, the light pollution. The light pollution is the problem in the big cities because, of course, the lights from our buildings, from our flats, plus public lights, actually the total effects of night is decreased. So people have a lot of problems with sleeping. We are affecting biodiversity, and actually we are challenging a lot of other things with installation of these kinds of systems. The citizens in this street actually give us a feedback that, for example, their sleeping quality are increased because there is no strong lights through the windows to their homes actually during the night. So they have a pretty natural environment for sleeping. And of course, there is a lot of studies in biology about the effects of public lights in the cities to animals and to plants also. So we are changing the biodiversity for sure. So we can discuss about many benefits. This is just one example of smart city services. It's a small pilot project, just 16 poles for implementation. So we are trying to avoid some expensive system. This system is just some kind of showroom for local government, just to prove that if you invest your money in this kind of system, if you invest money in these technologies, actually the return of investment is 100% no risk, and yeah, actually about 3-4 years is necessary just to get your money back, calculating from energy savings. This technological perspective is not only important for engineers, it's also important that this solution is born in my cooperation with local university. So we did a lot of research based on this system, but also this is opportunity for entrepreneurship activities, that if we can certify these solutions, we can actually start small startups, small startup company. So that means that it's very important if you can take your research results and establish some kind of company, because you are changing the business landscape in your local community. So it's not only about technology, it's also about academic research, cooperation between universities, local governments, but also businesses, and the end cooperation with citizens and the civil society in the broader way. So this is something what actually I started to discuss. This is something what is accepted norm in European Union. Actually, if you want to apply for Horizon project funding in European Union, you need to prove that your projects is not only related with academic and research thing, but also related with industry partners, just to be able that commercialize your research results, just to increase the competitiveness of European Union in the global market compared to China, India, USA, Japan, for example, or Australia. But also you need to cooperate with your government just to build a legal framework for many new technologies. We discussed about challenges in cybersecurity, in privacy. Then, of course, yeah, we discussed 5G health impacts risk or discussion. From my perspective, there is no risk, but there is some other topic. Is not for today, but it's very important to involve the citizens, to ask people which problem in community we have and which problem we can, which kind of hypothesis we can put on the table to start working on solutions, and what is necessary. First, to ask our neighbors in our local community, then of course we can talk about the global challenges we have defined in the Sustainable Development Agenda of United Nations. So yeah, this is one funny slide. I want just to always say in this kind of discussion, we discuss about a lot of things, but it's very common that you will face the people who will criticize every your idea, especially if you are very innovative, if you have a creative thinking on some problems. So people who are experienced in research and looking for something new are, of course, experts, and you don't need to convince people to be brave to step in some problem looking for solution. But sometimes, especially if you leave the scientific community, as we discussed in the previous slide, a lot of people will say that's not possible, that's not real, we are just spending our money, and criticize you. Especially if people has less knowledge about something, they are very confident to say, especially no, to reject you, and you can see something what is actually the Nobel Prize in psychology effect, Dunning-Kruger effect. You will never be criticized by the real experts. Real experts are very nice people, very open people without ego. If you face people with ego who stop your ideas and push you in negative way, actually you can be sure that people are not experts, and just be brave to leave your comfort zone to check what is behind in other side of the wall. So if you want to convince anybody, your government, your supervisors, anybody, new solutions and new ideas, this is something what is the result of research of Carnegie Mellon University from United States. This is some business school research, but doesn't matter. It's very important also for us to transfer technology to the real world. This is the resistance to new ideas, to creative work. Actually, it becomes resistance to scientific world also. It's related with number of audience or employees, and of course, exponential way number of management levels of people you need to convince to get support, not only financial support, but the general organizational support for some new research or new ideas. Just to be ready on that, this is mathematical model, it's exactly proof, it's not just talk. So yeah, at the end of story, we want to create a better world without hunger, without illness, without any problem. Actually, this pandemic actually proved us that we are not so powerful as a humanity that we think. Actually, we have to work a lot more to get new solutions, and we need to work on education our people just to be to follow some civilizational lines. Maybe this is not, of course, the place of discussion, but if you just open the media around the world, you can see that we are not in the point where we want to be. But technology already helps us that this world looks smaller than it is. Today, thanks to you and your invitation, and thanks to technology, I'm together with you in India. Even if I'm far away for thousands of kilometers, but today I have experienced that we are sitting together and we become closer. So what is very important for our future cooperation, for this discussion, for sharing ideas, etc. So it's very important to remember that doesn't matter how powerful the technology we have. It's still the human being is still in the center of these discussions. So if we don't want to cooperate, and if you, in case that you didn't want that I'm here today, I will not be here. Doesn't matter that we have internet and everything what is pre-requirements for this connection. but actually your will and your interest make us together. So I prefer to, for the end of my talk, always to cite the Bruce Schneier, one of the leading experts in cybersecurity in the world. So he said once that if you think that technology can solve all your problems, then you don't understand the problems actually you're facing, and you don't understand the technology at all. So technology is a tool. Technology is not the purpose. Technology is not the goal. It's just a tool, and yeah, you can use dynamite to build the roads, but also you can use as a weapon. So the technology is the same thing. It's very important that we are very well educated, that we are aware of the power of technology, and that we are enough ethic to use technology in the proper way, making our world better. So this is everything what I plan to say. So thank you for your time, and I'm ready for questions.
Thank you very much, sir, for your very informative talk. And I request participants and delegates, if you have any questions, you can put your question in the chat box.
Okay, I'll just check. There is people just leave some messages. Some messages here. Let's check. What's my prediction of job? New jobs are not sufficient with rising unemployment. Actually, I discussed about the job market relation with technologies. I will repeat. A lot of jobs will disappear, but not number of jobs, just type of job. And this is something what I use the example of horses and the purpose of horses. We don't use horses for transportation anymore. Mostly, somewhere yes, but mostly we are using some vehicles. What is actually the result of engineering work, of course. But on the other hand, we need to be ready to be educated, because if we increase, for example, the number of robots, self-driving cars, we need to increase the number of people who will work in production of robots or on self-driving cars. We need people to maintaining these devices. If you talk about IoT, you install sensors everywhere. Who will go to replace the batteries of this sensor? Because we still don't have solution to energy supply our sensors using mobile networks. So we need to go and manually change batteries, at least after a few years, but we are talking about billions of batteries. If you put the sensors in some industrial environment, you need to stop production. If you stop production, we are talking about the losing millions of dollars, maybe per hour, maybe even more. So there is a lot of challenges, but the job market and engineering world and research and ethics and everything has to be observed together, and that's actually the main message from my presentation. So we cannot just allow that technology took our job, but that's not plan actually. The main plan of technology is to increase our quality of life. Maybe it could be enough to work 4 hours per day to earn money, and the rest of job will do robots and machine for us. It's about how we will build our society in 21st century. So of course we need to change something, because everything are changing around us. So that's the moment when we need to leave our comfort zone and to discuss. And that's the reason why I always say not only academic community, but also industrial and business has to be here with us in the table. Government and civil society, regular people and citizens has to be informed about what we are doing, why we are doing, and just to try to stop conspiracy theories and decrease the fear, because the fear is huge because of many reasons. Yeah, the one comment using technology is increasing demands for new competencies. It's completely true. New competencies. I think the education is the one sector in our society without real revolution for maybe more than 100 years. And I think now is the final moment for that. We are still using conventional way, books, professors talking, students sitting, just taking a notes, later trying to remember a lot of information from the books. But it's not only important thing. We also need to train our people for innovative work and creative thinking. We need to train our students to think out of box. And also we need to involve some new competencies for 21st century. All of us are very aware that the children are present on social networks every day. There is a lot of options for misuse children in the internet. We need to educate very young children how to behave in the cyber world. Let's say cyber world, internet, or any other technology. You know what I want to say. So there is a lot of chance. So maybe we need a subject in elementary schools, some kind of digital literacy, for example, what we don't have. It's very nice. We have some, let's say, conventional subjects and trainers, but we need the new skills for 21st century. We need right now, and maybe this pandemic situation when we were physically isolated and whole world were present in internet, maybe in the same moment. Actually, we need to learn how to behave this cyber environment. The physical world, actually, we understand, but cyber environment is something different. Yeah, one comment more. Many manufacturing jobs will be replaced by robots in the future. At the same time, new jobs will be created. The process that's completely true. Actually, if you compare with the previous industrial revolution, the result is always additional numbers, increasing the numbers of jobs. But new jobs. That's only one thing. You just should be open for permanent learning. The whole life learning process. It's not enough just to, okay, you are a student right now and you receive your degree right now and you can stop reading. Unfortunately or unfortunately, depends on your private observational situation. Our generation, we here. We need to remember that we need to learn from now to till end of our lives. So we don't have an option because this world changing too fast and faster. I'm not sure that pressure is good for human being, but that's the fact. And we don't need to be scared about the losing job. We just need to be scared the amount of skills we need to be trained for if we want to position ourselves in our society in 21st century in a good way. I did read one comment that internet creates 2.4 jobs for every job it destroyed. Yeah, it's possible. I'm not sure about the exact numbers, but the information I read and actually the official data from United Nations that each new technology always creates at least a little bit more jobs. It could be 1.01 jobs for previous job, but it never happened. The technology killed jobs. So there is the example that the robotization, for example, in some countries like Germany, increased number of jobs, but in the United States decreased the number of jobs. So it's not only about technology; it's about also regulation, which is very important. I want to underline. And the society organization. So Germany and the United States both are very technologically advanced countries, very rich countries, but with different, let's say, social system. And you have two different levels. So we cannot say this system or better, or this one, or other one. Doesn't matter. But yeah, we can try to learn from experience of leading countries, trying to copy paste some experience in our countries. The real fear is about automatization will lead because the pace of technology change is very fast. I agree, and our responsibility as a researching and engineering community is to discuss not only here in this conference, but also to go in public media, on TV, to, let's say, the walk in the streets, talking with regular people, creating some questionnaires, looking for feedback, present them, going on, explaining how technology can help. Otherwise, we will be surrounded by scared people, and people could be also dangerous. Just remember that in the UK, a few times happened that somebody burned the base station 4G, 5G, sorry. And yeah, we are talking about fire, not only base station. In one moment, you have fire in the whole building and maybe violence in the streets later. And I'm not sure what can happen, but it's very important to explain people what's going on here. Let's say additional questions, total agreement. Okay, we agree about that. Agree with statement of Bruce Schneier, of course. He is the king of cybersecurity, a very interesting guy. I met him, and that's a privilege. Yeah, actually, one comment: the whole world is more prepared for a wars than pandemics. That's true, unfortunately, and that's about what I said about the technology as a tool. So you have a tool, you have a knife you are using in kitchens. You're using to, I don't know, take some wood to create something, but also knife could be a weapon. It's the same thing with technology. So it's about our ethics, our education, how we observe the world around ourselves. And we need to be educated about the responsibility of using technology also, not only about technology. And that's something what is very important. And actually, the whole conspiracy theories about vaccine and the 5G and many others, actually, that 5G actually caused coronavirus, what is completely, there is no idea to define any hypothesis for research, because virus is not something what could be in interaction with electromagnetic waves. Is semi-live. I don't know how to explain. You need to have some okay, we talk about protons, electrons. Okay, there is interaction with electromagnetic fields, because telecommunication wireless networks are nothing than just electromagnetic waves on some specific frequencies with some specific directions, angle, some other parameters. Of course, people from telecommunications are very aware about that. Is the same nature as a light waves, actually, from the sun. Light means life for us here. In one moment, some other electromagnetic wave is too dangerous. Of course, if you create a laser, you use a strong power and send in one small point, you can cut metal, you can cut whatever you want, and you have a weapon also. But wireless networks are not weapons, so it's designed to spread waves in all directions. So from that perspective, is very important to understand what's going on, and that was my motivation why I decided to talk. Not only I could talk something about 5G or smart cities only with a lot of numbers, with my research results and etc. But I suppose that many people already did it. So I just want to motivate and inspire a lot of people to think a little bit and just take a look on technologies as whole. Doesn't matter about which technology we are talking, from some other perspectives, trying to build a picture how is important to put a lot of stakeholders together discussing. And that's actually my motivation why last 2 years I'm working in the national regulator for government for telecommunications here, just to train myself also to understand the legal framework, policy making about privacy, cybersecurity, wireless networks, health issues, and many other issues around, because it's very important when I go back later to academic world to continue my research. I think I can discuss a lot of things with something what I can say that it could be additional value for science and for scientific paper and me personally. So as I see, there is no too much questions anymore. There is a few comments. In Australia, 21,000 academic jobs are expected to go because the virus university released that they can use online. Yeah, of course, digital transformation technologies are everywhere. So classroom teaching can never be replaced, sir. Yeah, I agree. But what could be changed, it's the way, the strategy way how we train the people. I'm pretty sure that the way when you have a teacher talking and students just sitting in passive way, you have one direction training, and later you just have official tests and people just write something what they remember. That's not enough to get the skills necessary for 21st century. I think that we need more interaction. So, you know, professors sitting, you are around them. Professor, just imagine the problem. For example, okay, we have a problem with the pandemics. We need, I don't know, to keep our people safe. Can all of you use next 30 minutes to imagine some good solution idea how we can improve our society in specific situation? And just let's think about that. Not only just remember the facts, because in the era of internet, you can actually go on Google and find whatever you want. Just the numbers is not important. Just to remember the facts. Yes, it is important. You cannot Google it every time, of course, but it's not only. I'm just saying not to kill something what is good right now, but we need to add some additional training and education methodology, and of course train our people for 21st century, especially digital literacy is very important, just to explain people all opportunities, but also threats if you are in the cyber world. In the same way, actually, your parents train you for physical world when you are very, very young. Offline education system, yeah, can be replaced. Yeah, of course. I again a comment. I didn't say that we should stay online. I didn't say that. But for example, we are in the classroom, of course, offline in physical world, and you have a teacher who explaining you some topic. But if you can record the class, you can go home and listen again your for example talk or lecture, whatever. As for example, this my talk will be recorded, as the organizer told me. So if you want to check on some facts from my talk, you can do it later also, and maybe later you can send me some additional questions on email, etc. So it's just about the idea how to improve, not to kill existing systems. So it's not about just replacing. Never replace the good things. Just try to add a new value using, of course, experience and the real needs. So maybe I wasn't exact in my let's say sentence where I tried to explain what we should change. Okay, discussion, interesting weight, long-term impact, smart city, smart society is right, but how to bring change in people to be more smarter, to accept and adopt the change? Education system. So you cannot press the button. And of course, there is always resistance, especially in older generation, because you cannot expect from my father, who is almost 80, and he lived his life in some way just to press the button, and now he is expert in using smartphones just to do the job. And I always discuss with him in some kind of funny way, but he always said, look, I'm very happy with my life, and I want to just walking around the city and to relax in my age. So try to train and adapt younger people and try to create a new and better world. So yeah, it's about education, and of course it's our responsibility to educate. So it's not just about to share and spread, for example, this video between us here in engineering and research community. It's also important to spread the words about this, and to with people from non-engineering world. And it's very important with decision makers, and of course at universities and schools, just to motivate people to think about, and of course to give people opportunity to ask you about everything. And you are experts here, you are engineers, you can explain non-engineering people what's going on here. Just try to kill their fears, and it's a process. It's not just a moment. We need to work on that. Maybe we need years, maybe 10 years and even more, just to explain people what's going on here. Sir, can smart reconfigurable antennas be employed for smart city projects? Of course, if you are talking about the MIMO systems, with antennas which could be reconfigurable, or actually even in real time, yes, of course. Microstrip patch antenna, of course, it could be used. It's not my expertise. I'm not working about antennas, but I'm very aware about the MIMO. about the general concept of MIMO, and actually the MIMO is official part of 5G standards, especially if you want to use a specific, very narrow electromagnetic waves directed from the base station to terminals. There is something what is called the pencil beams. It's very important. If you can just imagine hundreds of lasers going outside of antennas, not lasers, of course, not visible, but just imagine very narrow electromagnetic waves which targeting some specific sensors, vehicles, whatever, and trying to track vehicles in movement. Why is that important? If we can create something like that, we can avoid a lot of interferences. Less interferences, less collisions. Less collisions means higher throughput, higher speeds, and better efficiency of telecommunication systems. So yeah, there is a potential that idea, but to be honest, it's not my expertise. I cannot say how to do it. I just know that exists and what's going on in that line, because of course I'm using in my research work designing medium access systems for 5G. So as I see, there is no any more questions in chat. So thank you for questions. If there is any comments, I'm also willing to answer.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your very informative talk, and almost all the questions you have answered. With this, once again, I thank all the three speakers of the all the three speakers for their very good and informative talks. As rightly said by one of the speakers today, Dr. Lance Fung, learning has no boundary, and every individual is a lifelong learner. And I'm sure definitely all the participants who have attended these three sessions today, they will have something to carry with them, and definitely they will think on the concepts which are explained in these three invited talks. Once again, I thank all. With this, we have come to the end of 3 days international conference INCET 2020. Now, there is a valedictory remark and vote of thanks by our beloved principal, Dr. S.V. Gorbal, that is principal of Jain College of Engineering and Research. So he will be giving his valedictory remarks and vote of thanks. Hello, sir. Voice clear है, sir? क्या है? Swimming ठीक से हो रहा है क्या? Okay, sir. video is but all can you say Java is called to Sridhar. Sridhar is towards the north. I'm extremely sorry for that technical error. So on behalf of Jain College of Engineering, and Research Belagavi, and the entire organizing team of INCET 2020, thank each one, those who have directly or indirectly contributed for the success of this 3 days international conference, INCET 2020. At the outset, I thank all the speakers who have delivered their lectures in the last 3 days. And those lectures were really informative, and I'm sure the participants are delighted with those invited talks. Thank you all the speakers. I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Chanakya Kumar Jha, who is like the backbone for this entire event. Thank you very much, sir. I take this opportunity to thank principals of both Jain College of Engineering and Jain College of Engineering and Research, that Dr. K.J. Vishwanath and Dr. S.V. Gorbal for their constant encouragement and support in organizing this conference. I thank all the coordinators and the session chairs, without whom this conference would not have successful. Thank you all coordinators, and thank you all the session chairs. I also take this opportunity to thank all the teaching and non-teaching staff of Jain College of Engineering and Jain College of Engineering and Research for their cooperation and support in organizing this event. Last but not the least, as I told in the inaugural day also, there were two invisible pillars of this conference. Those are Dr. Harish Patil and Professor Sridhar Algi. So they were the main persons behind the organization, planning, execution, and on behalf of JGI family, I thank both Dr. Harish Patil and Professor Sridhar Algi for your support and making this conference a grand success. I once again thank all the authors, co-authors, delegates. We have joined this particular conference virtually across the country and outside the country also. Thank you all. And lastly, I thank each one of you who have contributed for the success of this particular event. Thank you one and all. With this, officially, I am signing off from INCET 2020. Thank you all.
Thanks.